Hey, what's going on, guys? Xbox All in China, host Saber Forever here. Um, I know I had this on lock for a couple, at least almost an hour. I wanted to see if anybody would be able to jump in, so please bear with me. I actually sent a link to Zobi. I'm doing a little bit something different on my channel today. I talked about it early in the week. We're going to be talking about the politics of pop culture because the way I do my channel and some of the topics we talk about, it tends to go that way anyway. You know, if you guys didn't realize this, and I don't say that I agree with this, I wish it wasn't this way, unfortunately, but politics just basically influences everything now. I mean, it's everywhere. And I grew up in a time where, that's something that they told you never to talk about. Don't talk about religion, don't talk about money, and don't talk about politics. But everything's a 24/7 news cycle now, everything's hypercharged. Um, the business of politics itself is what we're really dealing with. And in order to survive, man, politics has to be in constant flux, right? For those people that are involved in politics, the politicians themselves, the government also, and then people who belong to certain parties or have certain causes, This is why a lot of people have a misconception of uh, who I am when it comes to politics, what I believe when it comes to politics. Um, I try and let everybody know in the forefront, so that there be no misconceptions, but there tend to be, and the reason why is because a lot of people, when I put out my platform or what I believe in or um, my principles, standards, and stuff like that, they have a kind of a preconceived notion of what that is, unfortunately, and because they have preconceived notions, they try and put you in certain boxes. Now, in some aspects, a lot of that stuff is true. For most aspects, it's not, because a lot of people, honestly, I'm just being honest, man. It's just like how I'm honest with you guys when it comes to gaming. This is a pro Xbox channel, right? I say it all the time. This is a gaming channel, and we talk about pop culture. And if you watch my videos, there's a little bit of a slant. But what I try to do is be honest about it, be upfront about it, talk about it as clearly as possible, right? Also, when people come on to the channel and do these podcasts, I let them try and have their speech, even if I don't agree with them. Right? When I look at the community of Xbox people, especially on social media, the people I follow, we're all across the board when it comes to this kind of stuff, man. And it has to do a lot with, your background. Some of it's your geography. A lot of it has to do with your own set of principles and morals and how that was forged within you, whether it's the area you lived in, your parents, your family, right? Your faith for a lot of us, right? Because I am a Christian as well. And so what I try to do is keep that in mind when I talk to a lot of different people. And at this point, man, like I say all the time on my videos, man, I'm the same way with everything that I do in here. This is why it's so easy for me, when I talk about this kind of stuff, to transition to a lot of different topics, because I have a set foundation about how I feel about stuff. So it can be something as small and insignificant as pop culture, gaming, comic books, and stuff like that, or it can be something about what's going on in the country right now, currently, when it comes to politics, right? But because of the way I am, and because I'm a foundation on a lot of my stuff, and again, because of my age, right? I've just had a lot of experience that most people, when you're younger, that don't have, right? I've seen a lot of stuff in my lifetime, and I'm not putting myself up there. I'm just saying, this is for anybody that's been around for a long period of time. So even if there's somebody that comes on the channel and wants to do a discussion, and we have totally polar and opposite views, it's still his views, and it's still his experiences, right? For whatever reasons. Now, one thing I end up debating with a lot of people is just on policy itself. That's what I end up doing a lot of times. That's where the bread and butter is. I mean, I don't. There's no sense in debating personal opinion. There's no there's no reason to debate emotions and stuff like that. That's on you. It's the same thing I tell you, man. When I tell you guys, when people give reviews and stuff, I used to do that a long time ago. Dude. I used to do the number score and stuff like that. But gaming has changed, man. Gaming is not the same that it used to be. A lot of these games cross cross genres, right? You could have something that's supposed to be a traditional RPG but has action and platformer elements in it. There's might be some sim elements to it. So it covers this gambit, right? So it's hard to just keep them in the boxes like we used to do back in the day. You know, when you got a Mario game, you know what to expect. When you got a Sonic game, you know what to expect. When you play Street Fighter, you know you're playing a fighter game, right? I'm playing COD Black Ops 6. Just really quickly, if you guys haven't finished the campaign, there will be some spoilers. I know a lot of the guys that play the game, like myself, love to play the campaign. I'm doing both at the same time, enjoying it. I even got a chance to play zombies, and I loved it. Um, my point being is that there will be some spoilers because I got to talk about some stuff specifically. Um, but even though I'm only in the second act of the campaign, there are some things that pop up when you do Black Ops 6 that I can't remember, honestly, and I know I'm old, that I can't remember that any other COD did. And one of the things that you do get in the second act is you get a chateau. And it's not just giving, it's like there's a really great story, and there's a really great flow to the campaign that I'm enjoying. And like I said, I'm only in the second act. Um, and one of the reasons why in the first act I was trying to go through the stage with just getting stealth kills, and the computer wasn't having it, right? Or the game wasn't having it. And I was like, nah, dude, you're gonna have to draw your gun, right? And which I had to do, but still, played through that first part, enjoyed it immensely, man. Loved every single minute of it. Because when you first play the campaign, right, and you're going into these stages, you don't know where everything is. Um, and then once you get a feel for it, the replayability is in the fact that you want to go back and do better, which is another aspect of, to my point, of a lot of these games are cross pollinating, right? You're just not getting a shooter anymore, even though it's primarily a shooter. There's other elements that are in the game. So again, in the second act, you get a chateau, and then it has a little bit of a sim aspect to it, a simulated aspect to it, right? Because to develop the story, right? Which like I said, I like the story, but there's some things you can do to unlock certain things within the chateau. And what you have to do on the campaign is you have to look for money because you have to take that money, and then you go talk to whoever is on your team, and then let them know, hey, I have this money. Then you can unlock other things, right? And it's key to the actual story mode. I'm not saying you need to do it, but I would encourage you from what I've seen, what I've seen of it. And this is what's gonna get me to play the campaign even more. So again, right, this is not your daddy's video games anymore, man. I mean, I come from a simpler time. I still play games to this day, so this is the experience I'm talking about when it comes to gaming, and that's how I apply certain things across a lot of various spectrums, man. Whether it is pop culture, like we're talking about movies or music, or when we're talking about video games, and then on politics, dude. A lot, I've been kind of the same way. I've changed on certain stances when it comes to certain things. Certain people I support, certain things I believe in. But for the most part, man, I'm the same person politically that I've been since the 80s, right? And the 80s, I was politically charged since then, right? Because I grew up in the Reagan era, right? And again, this is why I believe in geography, family, faith, those things. And to be honest with you, those things inform me on where I stand with a lot of my politics, right? But still, being able to look at that and step outside of yourself is very key, and a lot of people don't do that nowadays, and that's what I feel is a lot of the problem, right? Which is interesting because if you're keeping up with the election right now, we got one more week to go before this stuff kicks off. Hey, hold on one second, guys. I'm so sorry. Let me see if I got. I thought it. Wait, bear with me. But we got about a week to go, right? Next week is the 5th. That's election day. I've already done my due diligence, did my responsibility as a citizen. Though I am not one of these people, and I've never been this way, guys. And a lot of people. I think I sent him the link. Okay, I did. A lot of people. Um, I I don't think you like dude. If you don't want to vote, don't vote. If you don't know what's going on, definitely don't vote. Right? That's the way I've always felt ever since I was younger. And I was in that generation where Rock the Vote first kicked off, and it was huge. Right? They were getting a lot of people, especially young people, right? They wanted to get involved. For me, I think it's good that you get involved. I think it's even better because it is your right. I believe in that. Um, but in this country anymore, we don't teach basic civics. So if you ask people some basic, questions about government, constitution, all this kind of stuff, you see it on these show. In fact, I should have got some clips. It's really funny. I find them entertaining, but it's also kind of scary. A lot of people don't understand how our system of government works. Most people think that we're an actual democracy, and we're not. We're actually a constitutional republic. That's what a constitution means so much, right? It's not rule, it's not ruled by the many. right? That's why you have a electoral college. This is why you have the laws that you have in place, right? This is why you vote for representatives that's supposed to rep you in DC, even though most of them don't. You know what I'm saying? So there's a method to the madness of what our political system is, and a lot of people don't realize how that works. In fact, a lot of people will be anti our government. I'm somewhat anti-government too, but for specific reasons, not on the level of what I'd say an anarchist and stuff like this. I believe in law and order. I believe that there's supposed to be a base function for the government. But aside of that, that's pretty much it. That's the way I look at things, right? And so, my kids, for example, my kids did not want to vote this year, and they were afraid that I was going to force them because they know I'm politically charged. But like how I talk about buying my son Spider-Man for his birthday when it came out last year, that's the game we wanted. Naturally, as we all know, as Xbox guys, we don't have the opportunity to play Spider-Man because it goes to it's only on the PlayStation, and I think it's on PC now too. But he wanted to play it, and the good thing is I didn't have to buy the PlayStation for him. His mom bought it for him, so that's cool. So I just had to fork up the money for the game, right? So I didn't have to trade on my morals too much. But he's my son, so I'm not gonna download my stuff upon him. I don't think that's appropriate for parents to do that. I mean, you're their parent, you're not their friend. You teach them as best you can. And then my kids are older now. Like I said, they're of age to vote, and neither of them wanted to vote. You know, and one of the reasons why is because, again, why we're doing this podcast, everything is politically charged. Everything is politically charged for no reason at all, or for the wrong reasons, right? I mean, they've been dealing with this since school. They've been dealing with this since 2016 when things got really out of hand, especially where I live. You know, a lot of these schools would have like mock elections, but the elections would be for somebody like Johnny Purple or Becky Sue Mary, you know, like that. So what I mean by that, dude, they were like John Doe and Jane Doe, right? It wasn't the person, it was the process, right? Because they were trying to teach the kids, okay, this is why you vote, this is how you vote, or this is how you vote, this is the process. But what they started to do, right, is basically indoctrinate these kids, right? And that's a dangerous thing because regardless of what side you're on, I live in a blue state, so you understand where which way they're gonna go with a lot of these kids, right? And uh, but on either side is bad, right? Because you shouldn't really be doing that for kids. For me, this is actually an adult thing. This is why you have to wait to a certain age, and I think that's great because a lot of kids don't have that kind of connection or emotional availability to make these kind of decisions. In fact, when you just looked, because the school my daughter was going to, where just this was in the height of the Trump era, 2016 election, and my daughter was at school, and it got ridiculous. The parents had to call in, right, because kids were getting ostracized. My daughter's friend, and my daughter didn't care. She doesn't have an affinity for that kind of stuff like I do, and rightfully so, man. She's a little kid at the time, and my son as well. And I don't want them to be learning that kind of stuff anyway. And I don't want people to. I don't even download my stuff onto my kids at that level. And then you have these schools like just basically trying to get them to vote the way that they feel is right, right? Laying heavy topics on them, right? Because you know the school systems here have teachers unions. Teachers unions tend to be democratic and they vote blue, especially in my state, right? So everything is slanted towards that. You know, oh, do you like the school here? Do you like the programs we have? You know, this is not stuff that you should be talking to little kids. You should be talking to kids of like how a bill is passed, right? How do people come up with a bill? Why do we have so many senators? Why do we have so many congressmen? Why is there a Republican Party? Why is there a Democratic Party? Right? The history and your civic duty, talking about it from that perspective, not on topics that are affecting, which doesn't actually technically affect them. It affects them, but not technically at their level. Kavari said, "Did you know more kids die in red state because of gun violence because the Republicans don't care?" Yeah, Kavari, no, not today, brother, not today. Most just go do the studies on inner city violence, dude, and that'll blow what you just said out of the out of the water. You know, sorry, bro, I don't adhere to what mainstream media tells me at all, and I haven't done that for years, dude. Plus, I'm a Second Amendment person. I actually went and got licensed to do Second Amendment. The guy who did my training class wanted me to become an instructor, but I didn't want to because of the responsibility. In fact, I had a hard time like debating whether I was going to get a gun or not, man. Because after you take a class, and I'm talking about gun safety class, which is required in my state, right? And it's actually run by NRA teachers, and so the level of responsibility that you have, especially in a state that I have, but gun laws and everything aside, the level of responsibility that weighed heavy on me. I'm prior military man, but I was not in combat. I was I could have been, right, because I was at mobile command. Like if stuff really went down, then you'd have to go. If the officer who was an admiral at the time, right? But that's if that being rare, very rare that would have happened. Just only one time we got put on notification, right? I was qualified, right? But it's not like I carry, when you're in the military, dude. It's unless you're in that job, it's very rare that most federal and military installations don't allow you to have a gun. Did you also know red state schools are underfunded compared to blue state schools? Yeah, yeah. Um, and there's a lot to unpack when it comes to that, dude. There is a lot. A lot of red state schools don't want to be funded, right? This is most of your red states will have homeschooling, right? They want more control over what their kids are doing with their education. They don't trust the Department of Education. And you heard, of course, Trump will be on the red side. You heard him talking about actually defunding Department of Education, which would be huge. And there's ramifications. That's going to be crazy if he actually did that. You know, I mean, a lot of the stuff that he's talking about. But for as far as the red states, because like I was saying, the story I was telling you, right, is I don't want this type of stuff being shared with my kids, right? Because it becomes political, right? So much so, dude, that when these people were parents had to call in, man, so some kids were getting ostracized, right? Because some kids like they gave them the option of who to vote for, and because the kids aren't voting, the parents are voting because they probably overhear their parents talking about it or the parents talk directly to them. My kids know my politics and stuff like that. I don't download it upon them, but they know what my politics are, what I believe. So naturally, as their parent, right? So what was happening, man, is there was stuff happening in school, man. People was getting bullied and picked on, which is ironic, right? Because that's a big thing for the school my daughter was going to, no bullying. Because when I grew up in Hawaii, bro, back in the day, man, it was rough. Dude, you had to be, dude. You was gonna get you had to scrap. You had to fight. When I was growing up, false crack, dude. Somebody catch you in the bathroom. It was just and that when I was young, and that stuff was happening. So of course that stigma in this state, right? And so they're trying to course correct, but now they're overcorrecting, in my opinion. But nobody likes to see that, dude. And I'm talking on email, like all the stuff every time when I went to the orientation for this school, everything they talked about, these kids were doing, and they were doing it because the school itself was actually causing it, right? Because one of my daughter's friends, man, she's not from here, she's from the mainland, but her family moved here, dude. So they're from a red state. So naturally, the child or the daughter, her daughter is like Joe Trump, right? And she's fresh off the boat, dude. She don't know how it is here in Hawaii. And then what ended up happening? She's getting bullied and picked on, and that's what pissed. And that actually left a bad taste in my daughter's mouth, man, because my daughter don't like bullying on that level. And you know, and of course that's her friend. So like I called the school and I was like, hey, look, you need to. If I have to come down there, dude, there's gonna be trouble. And I wasn't the only one. Other parents are just like, dude, why aren't you teaching them just basic reading, math, civics? Like that's what I grew up with. I grew up with civics, right? Just in the process of voting, not actually, downloading this crap on these kids, man. Which I'm totally against. That's the parents' job. Let parents raise their kids, which is a whole nother podcast. Kavari, Democrats aren't just better leaders; they're better with legislation and getting things done. No, 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 no. I'm assuming you're a Democrat, Kavari. No, that's far from the truth. Especially after these 4 years, dude. I don't know how in tune you are in politics. I'm assuming you're an American citizen. But if you've lived through these last 4 years, dude, that's an absolute falsehood right there. You're wrong. Economy's worse. Everything's worse. I am in tune with a lot of stuff that goes on the intelligence side of things. Like I keep up with foreign policy and stuff like that. And we're just one flashpoint away from World War III. And I don't say that facetiously, man. It's all there. It's all case in point. I think one of the things that's saving it right now is that the election is going on. So there's outliers that state sponsored foreign nationals that are looking at what's going to happen, how the politics are going to fall. Because if you look at it honestly, right, there's two ways you can go. Whoever you vote for, whoever wins, man, it's going to definitely affect how people deal with us when it comes to foreign policy. Um, but no, they're not. They're actually worse. I'll say this: they're good at getting things done because they stay on message and stay on point, dude. They don't waver. They're a lot of people on the Democratic side will support Democrats no matter what. Their policies, no matter what. They believe in them, and regardless of what the results are, dude, they'll just keep on doing the same. It's good to see people waking up to that, working up to that though, and that's how bad it is in the country because most people don't care, most people don't pay attention, but the policies are so bad that people are beginning to pay attention, right? And that's the scary part for us, right? Because that's how bad it's gotten in the country politically for people to actually look at stuff and go, hey, I better get involved. And they're looking at the policies, they're looking at how they've been affected, especially the last 8 years, right? If I'm being honest, right, under Biden and under a Trump presidency. And even with all of that, dude, this is why you see a lot of this stuff happening right now with people getting more involved. Because at the end of the day, man, it's not about, dude, it's about how you're affected, right? I always like to say this: politics is local, dude. When things are affecting your bottom line, dude, I was doing my insurance today, man. They raised the insurance. I was paying like $90, $92 a month. They raised it to like 100 and well, they wanted to charge me almost $200, like 190, and then I redid my insurance again, and I got it down to like 137. But I mean, the things I had to do to get it to that 137, man, I can't afford to get an accident, right? So stuff like that, Kavari, man. When people start feeling it, especially in the pocketbook, when it's affecting their way of life, that's when people start waking up, and that's what's happening. So, Kavari, Republicans don't have solution or policy. All they talk about is culture war and trans people who are 0.1% of the population. Actually, that's both sides, Kavari. All right. Sorry, dude. I ain't gonna let you slide on this, dudes. In fact, Republicans are kind of clueless when it comes to the culture war, right? If I'm being honest, they've ignored the culture war for years because that's not their thing. Republicans. That's not their base. That wasn't their base. That's never been their policy. Foreign policy, big on that. Economy, big on that. Um, and look, dude, I ain't gonna give Republicans a pass too. They've been horrible. But the culture war is not their forte. What you're dealing with, Kavari, is a lot of people who were on the left or in the middle that actually participated in the culture war are coming over to the right. And I know this, man, because there's friction within the right side of politics. The Republican Party is the Big Tent now, whether Republicans want it or not. Which is ironic, right? Because they hate Trump. Most Republicans, especially rhinos, right, Republican in name only, right? Because the Republican Party is supposed to be the daddy, right? Republican Party is supposed to be the responsible one. Republican Party is supposed to be um, the not the good time, right? It's not the fun time, right? Republicans are the ones that are supposed to put the foot down, pump the brakes, and do stuff like that, and they don't, right? They're the Republican Party, and I'm a Republican. I'm a registered Republican. They are kind of a former shell of themselves, right? And then you have to factor in the Uniparty as well in Washington, which is really bad. It's all of that, dude. It's basically not right versus left or Republicans versus Democrat anymore. It's all about class right now, right? You have an upper class, a middle class, and then those on the bottom, which are poor. You know, the poor class. Not to insult, I'm just saying, right, the levels, right? And right now, dude, the middle class is the one getting decimated. And this is why you see a lot of people registering for the first time. They're reporting they're gonna vote for Trump, right? Because Trump himself is not really a Republican. In fact, for the longest time, he was a liberal. And again, I'm pretty sure you've seen, or if you haven't, I'll let you know. Right, there's all kind of information out there with him back in the day, how these people used to love him because he has money, which is something that the Democrats love, which I found out really quick a couple decades ago. Right, they actually love money. They're for the poor, they're for the common, they're for the downtrodden. But like everybody else, they love money, and like everybody else, that pushes their politics and influences them. So, I mean, you don't have to preach to me or Republicans. I know everything about them because I am one. A lot of the things they do currently, I do not, or ever agree with, right? But I would recommend you do the same thing. I'm assuming you're a Democrat or and a liberal, so on your side, maybe you can look at it, especially on your side, because your side right now is in total turmoil about what you guys are, what you guys aren't. And I know this because I'm on the other side of it, and everybody on your side that's middle to a little bit left of middle is coming over here, right? And then the arguments on this side is building because they're most socially liberal, where most people on the right are socially conservative and economically conservative. A lot of the people coming over from your side, they're fiscally conservative, but they're not socially conservative, and that's where people are butting heads, right? Like gays for Trump and all that kind of stuff, right? But at the end of the day, what's forging everybody together on this side is the economy and the fact that the media lies constantly. Democratic actually put for a bill to provide free school lunches only for the Republicans to turn it down. Yeah, well, Kavari, dude, there's no such number one. There's no such thing as free school lunches, right? Somebody pays for it. Ask yourself where they get the money to provide these school lunches, right? Because the school has to get a contract. They have to get somebody to make that lunch, right? Or if the school does it themselves, they have to pay for the food to make the lunches. Government is not private organization, dude. They get their money from taxes. This is why people can't stand taxes, right? And I think people would be fine with taxes, right, if they weren't, if they wouldn't overtax. Number one, number two, if they felt that the government was responsible enough to manage those funds, and they're not. See, so this is what I'm saying right here. Exactly what you said, Kavar. Democratic actually put a bill to provide free school lunches. Nothing's free. Nothing's free in life. That's one thing I tell my kids. Politics aside, there's nothing free. There's always a cost to something. Somebody's paying for something, right? I experienced that here where I live, dude. There's people that were there that got free school lunches, and then people that had to pay, and then the parents were getting mad because the kids that had to pay, they raised the price on the lunches, right? Now, if for most people that kids are in public schools, man, where I live, the cost of living is high. So every little thing like that, and this is what causes friction. This is what causes problems. Do Democrats think about that? Do you think Democrats actually think that through? Well, hell, even Republicans. I'll be honest with you, right? I think probably the Republicans turned it down because in politics, right, these people just can't pass a bill that just focuses on school lunches. Right? There's probably a lot of pork that's in those bills too. That because that's what Democrats do. That's what your side does, right? And Republicans do to a point too, but not on the level Democrats got this down a lot, bro. Right? Like they'll introduce this school lunch bill. I bet you there was stuff for like free illegals. There was stuff for like giving Ukraine money, right? Which surprises me now because Democrats are war hawks now. I absolutely love this, the hypocrisy of it. But dude, nothing's free, man. You got to go recheck this, right? Somebody's gonna pay for this. It's usually going to be local, state. It can be city, state, federal. All of it's bad. Laughing my ass off. World War III. You're being watching too much Alex Jones. No, dude. I've been this way prior to Alex Jones, bro. I love history. I love keeping up with history. There is a ebb and flow to history, so much so that it's a science. I actually took a sociology class, man, that helped me realize that. And the reason I took the class, it gives you the tools. If you're going to be an analyst, it gives you the tools to look at things and check your bias, which I recommend for you, Kavari. You have to check your bias. I never watched Alex Jones. I always thought he was a little bit off the cuff, but I think he plays a character. I don't know. I never really enjoyed this stuff, and I don't. And one of the reasons I don't watch him is because I don't need him to tell me anything I already know. Same thing like I tell you guys on my Xbox channel, right? I don't watch people that can't tell me that won't tell me something I don't know, and then on top of that make stupid comments. This is why the circle of people I hang around with is cool, or is close. They're cool, but it's a close group. That's why I can always Hebot. There's always a person I put up on my channel, right? Because he has a wealth of knowledge and a lot of stuff that I didn't know about gaming or pop culture or collecting figures, stuff like that. Dude, this dude knows all that stuff, right? So nice try though with Alex Jones. If I were you, I'd watch somebody like Mark Levin, right? I'm more on that thought-provoking conservative side, right? Because I like reason. And I'm not saying Alex Jones doesn't have reason, but he definitely plays a character, dude. I mean, that's just how he kind of got his fame, dude. He's just like you're talking about it, right? And I know you probably don't want Trump, right? But I don't need somebody like Alex Jones to tell me that, dude. You have flashpoints in Taiwan right now. Japan currently is rethinking their relationship with the United States, right? Because and they're an important ally for us, right? South Korea right now always dealing with North Korea. So in Asia, you have that going on. We have Ukraine, Russia, right? North Korea just sent troops over to Russia to help them, right? So this thing isn't going away soon, right? And you expect Kamala Harris to handle a lot of this stuff, and she's sitting there trying to talk to all these leaders. There's stuff going down in Middle East, and it's not just Israel and Palestine, dude. What's Israel doing in Gaza, right? It's disrupting the flow in all of the nation states over there. Right? But look at what the Prince of Saudi Arabia talks about when he talks about this kind of stuff. Like he just wants things to be peaceful, right? So I mean, it's just not skin deep for me, dude. I look at this stuff because it's interesting, right? I'm not saying it's like, oh, I know. No, because I just find this stuff interesting. I like the cause effect. I like the flow. So like next week, man, there's an election, dude. I voted for the person I wanted to, right? Other people voted for the person who wanted to, but whoever wins next week, that I'm still going to be tuned in, charged in, because I like to see ebb and flow, cause and effect, right? The macronizations of everything that goes on. It's interesting to me. Boring to most, but to me, it's interesting, right? Like if this person wins, what direction are we going to go in? You know, what I think of the economy is going to be like. You know, how's this going to affect my kids and their future? You know, my 401k has been totally decimated. Right? You know, this is the problem with a lot of people that are in my position as middle class guys, is because, you know, you have these avenues that you're doing for saving, right? For me, it irritates me because, you know, you do the right thing, you work hard, you save, you invest, right? For most people, they won't have, you know, all these celebrities that are coming out talking about politics and stuff like that, dude, whether they're pro or con, you know, they have to have the realization that a lot of people, they can't identify with most people because they don't have the concerns that everybody does, right? Living paycheck to paycheck. Like today, I had to renew I had to renew my insurance, right? For some document I didn't sign. So they pulled it and brought it back, right? And I know, and they raised my rates, and I know why they raised their rates. It's not just because of the document. The guy was telling me that, right? It's because there's a lot of people that are driving around without insurance. When they get into accidents, right? That's heavy cost on the insurance company for the person that does have insurance. That's what I'm talking about, dude. It's all of that, dude. It's just not one string, just one thing, right? It's a string of things, which is ironic because you talk about Alex Jones. He actually does that. He does that bait and switch by doing that. He's actually smarter than you think about it. I just don't. His style just isn't in tune with me. Nothing against him, dude. If you like Alex Jones, you like Alex Jones. Um, Kavari, Biden had to clean up Trump's mess which was COVID crisis. Biden got a lot done, like the Chip Act and Infrastructure Act. Don't feel free to. Well, that's because he kept what Trump wanted to do. The Chip Act Trump wanted to do, because Trump, it was all a part of his Make America First thing, right? He wanted to bring everything back to the U.S. That's what he wanted to do, which he did. So yeah, I will give Biden credit for that, right? The same thing with he kept the lockdown on China, right? Like he decoupled. He's decoupling from China. I give him credit for that. Well, at least the people in the administration. One thing you guys got to understand with this, I mean, this is why Trump. This is why Washington hates Trump. He's a maverick. You know, he can come up with this kind of stuff, dude. But this is why most people in politics prefer the same old, right? This is why you have the opinion that Biden's a puppet, right? But then Biden did keep that. But it's not it, dude. Let's be honest, dude. It's because there's people there that wanted it as well, right? And yeah, I'll give him credit for that because that actually worked out in our favor. Because I think we do need to bring everything back here. I'm a capitalist through and through, but I believe in ebb and flow. I believe in fluid. I believe capitalism by its very nature needs to be fluid. So there needs to be cause and effect. There needs to be success and failure. Now nobody wants to be on the failure part of it, right, Kavari? If we're being honest, but that's just the way it is. That's how life is. And you know, and sometimes or a lot of times, man, a lot of the greatest people out there have failed and they learn from that failure. You know, nobody just came in and just boom hit it out of the park. Very few people hit it out of the park and bat 1,000. You know, most people are below 500, and some of these guys are some of the richest, most powerful, most influential people in the world right now. But yeah, Trump at the Operation Warp Speed did not agree with that. Did not agree with the mandates at all. And that was coming on the Biden thing, dude. I mean, uh, But I will say, yeah, Infrastructure Act, even though they didn't really build anything, um, or anything plausible, right? Because they don't really care. Chip Act, though, yes, very good, very good. In fact, I wish they would have sped that up, uh, because the chip shortages hurt a lot of people. You know, we as gamers understand that as well. Dude, if you were, that's why it was hard to get a car. That's why cars were so expensive. This is why used cars went up in price, right? Because people went to the used car market got flooded, right? Instead of having to pay, like people either couldn't get their cars or they're going to pay exorbitant amount for cars. So they're like, okay, well, let me get this used car. And then a whole bunch of people shifted at one time. Same thing with the housing market, right? You have states where people are going to be homeless because you have people from more affluent states moving into these smaller neighborhoods and states because the cost of living is cheaper, and then they raise the cost of living. Now, if you have the money, you move into that area, that won't affect you as much. But the locals that live in that area, dude, I live in Hawaii, bro. We experienced this. We're on steroids now with this kind of stuff, dude. There's more people from Hawaii moving to the mainland right now than there's ever been. In fact, there's more people with a Hawaii background, local people that live in the mainland than the actual state of Hawaii, and they're basically getting supplanted by other people that can't afford to live here, which are people from overseas, and people from the mainland and other countries that are coming here. I see it, dude. I live right down the road from the hub of everything that's tourist and cross culture. When it comes to a lot of where these people are living, right? And I see it all the time, dude. The makeup of people have changed so fast, it's making the local people here head spin, right? Because there is a uh, makeup of people here, nationalities across the board, right? But one thing they've lived here for generations, so there's a local culture that's grown out of that. This especially since I've been a kid, right? So you can have somebody that family who's from Japan, but they've lived here in Hawaii, so now they're local Japanese, right? They have a local style about them, as opposed to somebody who just comes from that country and just moves over here, right? For a lot of these countries, they're coming from these countries where the government's over, which is ironic, right? They're moving from countries, right, their leadership in those countries are heavy-handed, so they're moving here, right? And they might get the same thing, which I find totally funny, in a sad kind of way. But you laugh not to cry. But yeah, so I'll give him credit for that. Infrastructure Act. I don't know, dude. Democrats have been talking about infrastructure for I don't know how long, and the roads still suck. I know. Like I said, I'm in a blue state. They never, dude. A lot of this stuff right here, Infrastructure Act, you can miss me with all this, dude. Though I will give him credit, though, that was his point of contact. But I mean, what has he done? Even with Trump, what Trump talked about infrastructure. You know what I'm saying? So what did he do? He spent most of his time fighting with the Democrats and Republicans and the media and people in his own cabinet, dude. Dude, it's crazy. Kavari, you think giving the rich more tax cut when an average teacher or public sector worker has to pay more taxes? Well, it depends, Kavari, right? Not just the teachers are paying more taxes. We're all paying more taxes. They tax you on everything. They tax you on your income. They tax you on when you buy something. They tax you on what you own, right? Yeah, I'll float this at you. You heard what Trump said, dude. He's going to get rid of the income tax. He started slow, right? This is how Trump is, right? For those of you guys who don't understand how Trump is, right? He's just a little, I wish I could do the accent. I mean the impression. I can't impersonate him though. It would be funny. But there's some great guys out there impersonating. But he just started with tax on tips, right? He's like, okay, we'll do tax on tips, right? We'll start off slow. We'll do that, and then he went from that to like, okay, Social Security for the seniors, right? You get that block, which I agree with too. I think less tax is better. And then I forgot what the next one he did. And then I guess just one day, dude, I was just like, it blew my mind. He's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get rid of the income tax, and I was like, holy crap, dude! Like for me, I would think that he would go flat tax route first, right? Like cut a flat tax, like maybe 8% across the board, just to keep it Christian. Right? God asked you for 10%. I say like 9 or 8% the government, right? And so I thought he would go more that route and then instigate his other stuff as you go, like targeting tax breaks and tax cuts, right? Kind of like what Reagan did back in the day. But even Reagan didn't even think about this kind of stuff, right? And the scary thing about it is whether you're pro Trump or against Trump, both sides understand that he would do it. That's the scary part. And even for me, man, even as a person that thinks taxes suck, that's going to be a big change, Kavari. Because do you realize how many people rely on federal funds across the board Dude, if I was him, I wouldn't have said that, dude. I mean, he's already been trying to, they took a shot at him one time, and then they were going to take another shot at him. I know for 2 times, and then I heard about a third time there was a plot that they stopped. I don't know about that one, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of powerful people that rely on that money. This is the reason why you have lobbyists. This is why when you look at the northern part of Virginia, because Virginia used to vote red all the time, but now there's a northern part of the state that's across from Washington D.C. where all these rich people live because they're lobbyists, right? They have interests, and they blew that thing up. Look how much the houses up there cost. I mean, it might have dropped. I haven't looked at it at a year, but even a year ago, man, it was still high. But that's because those people, they make their money. Right now, imagine you cut the income tax and that money's gone, dude. Your job is gone. For a lot of federal workers, man, that's something to worry about, right? Because you'll be less funding, depending on what federal branch. Like already, you talked about ending the Department of Education. What do you think is going to happen with all of these leaderships, all of these people, and all these offices, right? That live off the teat of the federal government. So, Kavari says, "Are you Hispanic?" Oh no, bro. I'm Polynesian, bro. I'm Polynesian, dude. I live on a rock in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. So, in the bluest of blue states, brother. In the bluest of blue states. Bro. We're hurting over here, bro. We're hurting, man. Cost of living is ridiculous. Hey, what's up, Unlimited? Yeah, man. Hey, dude, I saw your I haven't got a chance to watch your playthrough. I'll definitely check it out. Yeah, but I saw you put that video up, dude. Again, I know, dude. We talk about it all the time. I know you talk about it. I'm glad to see you putting it into rotation. Doing more positive stuff when it comes to gaming, especially for Xbox. At the end of the day, Microsoft will do what they'll do, and as seen by what Satya dropped, right? What Satya talked about as far as moving forward. But man, dude, that news was. In fact, I'll cover that. I kind of got up to this. Kavari is came into the chat, so and I want to address that. But we'll switch gears really quickly, and then we can get back to it. I'll be in the CNA. Oh, okay. Was that the today? I was gaming now to take care of business. A day off work doesn't mean a day off. Yeah. I was the same way, dude. I got up early this morning to go get my safety check done, dude. And I just found out that my insurance, because of some document I didn't sign that they sent to me, which I never got. And look, nothing on doing stuff like that. But yeah, they told me I had to redo my insurance, and when I redid it, they raised the price on me. So. Talking about finances and people, it's amazing. Do you gotta stay on your feet? So my point being, brother, take care of your responsibilities, man. I know you do. I normally do as well. I don't know if I'm getting old. I definitely was distracted by Call of Duty, but that's something that slipped under my radar, dude. And it's gonna cost me more money now. And that's another reason why I want to do this I want to do this podcast. You're more than welcome to come on, bro. But I want to talk about things not just in specifics, but in the generalizations of stuff, right? Like I wasn't expecting a $50 increase on my insurance, so that's gonna roll into my bottom line, dude. As a gamer, right? Thank God we have Game Pass, right? Because if we didn't have Game Pass, dude, I wouldn't be able to play a lot of the games that I'm playing right now. Even though Call of Duty is sucking up all the air in the room for me right now. This weekend they have a double XP. And everybody was online. They brought back. They were smart. Everything that Microsoft is doing and Activision is doing with this brand just blows my mind, dude. This is what I expected from them, and it's exceeded those expectations, man. The marketing again was on point. The information was put out there. Nothing was skewed. Nothing was mishandled. Nothing was misrepresented. Sorry, I let this car drive by. Every step of the way, especially after the AKB, and that wasn't even on Microsoft. If you looked at the AKB case, man, Microsoft was on point even during those times, right? To show you the level at which they operate, right? And so for Call of Duty Black Ops, man, it blew my mind because I'm like looking at this stuff going, oh dang, dude, they really, really are on point with this. And you can tell, dude, like everything Microsoft does, right? This is the first for them. They are a big company. They do have the Xbox, which is a huge brand. They do have their own titles and stuff like that. But purchasing somebody for $80 billion is definitely a new frontier for anyone, and they've handled it brilliantly. I have not had any problems playing Call of Duty Black Ops. I've had no problems getting into any of the games. There were a couple glitches that I picked up on that people were talking about in the chat. In fact, addressing it. Like sometimes when you come in, you can't tell the level of the people you're playing against. Because one time I went in and it was everybody was listed as one, where I could see where I was like 20 something, level 20. I think I was 25, and everybody I saw was level one. I was like, oh man, the matchmaking is horrible. Like, how is that even? Because if you're coming in, regardless of how good you are at level one, you don't have the guns and your stuff kitted up to be at your optimal playing performance. So I was playing, and I definitely knew that these people weren't number one, were ones, right? They had better gear than I did. Dude. This one person. Every time I went up and up with them, right? I was doing nothing but giving them kills, right? And that's the one thing that was driving me nuts because every time I spawned, he was right there. Not like spawn killing, but every time he spawned, I turned a corner and he was coming, and I'd be trying to take him out. Like for me, it's a thing of man, it's a little bit of machismo, man. It's like, no, dude, I could take him. I could take him this time. 10 kills later, right? I basically put this dude on top, right? In fact, I wanted to, if I had the chat on, I was like, hey, man, you should thank me. You should give me an MVP, or or what does they call that? A 6-man award, man, for putting you on the map because that dude, I just gave him nothing but kills. And there's been a couple games like that, but it's not as bad as it used to be, bro. That's what I'm talking about across the board. The way they marketed this stuff, the way they handled the transition, right? You can tell the team transition and stuff like that with all the bad press that Microsoft was getting. It just blows my mind that it was like that. Kavari, I want to switch gears a little bit. I'm not ignoring you, brother. We'll come back to your comment. I don't mind talking about this stuff, dude. But I do want to, since Unlimited, since you brought this up. So thank you. We can change course. Let me go back. Hold on. I'm going to share the screen. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Let me. Sorry, I'm gonna have to take it out for a second. But here you go, guys. From Games Radar, it's not a. I don't have too much of a problem with them, man. They report on the news, but they have their moments too. But they're just like other gaming media, which follows the suit of mainstream media. Um, a lot of their information is all in a bubble. So, but as you can see by the headline, a staggering 52% of U.S. Xbox Series X and S players launched Call of Duty Black Ops 6 the Monday after release, analyst says. It's bonkers engagement. I can attest to that, dude, because unlike some other games, I still get into games, man, but you don't have to wait long. The thing that takes the longest a lot of times is when you're in the lobby, which has nothing to do with the player or whatever. They're probably trying to get the most optimal connection as possible, which I can appreciate. But they're also giving you time, as I've noticed this, and it's true of Black Ops. It makes sense with Black Ops, is they give you a little, they give you pretty much a good grace period for you to kind of get in and maybe switch some stuff up if you wanted to before you actually roll into the game. I tend to lay all my classes out, but there's sometimes where I've been in games and I realize, you know what, I need to improve on this right there, but I'm a little bit slow on the draw, and I've made those adjustments. So again, this is something I feel that they put a lot of time and effort into, and it shows, man, because it feels really good. Everything flows smoothly. It's a good time. I'm having whether I die. Like I said, that guy got 10 kills off of me. It didn't matter. I was just having fun. My team probably wasn't as happy, right? Because we lost the match. But I mean, everybody was getting killed on my team, so I don't feel that bad about it. But it says it looks like the Xbox big bet on Call of Duty 6 is paying off. One industry analyst has revealed that over half of active Xbox Series X and S players in the U.S. played the new first-person shooting on the Monday after launch. Dude, that's crazy. That is crazy, dude. That is a lot of people. And like I said, I had no problem getting into games and no hiccups, except for the little stuff that I think I got kicked out of 2 games. But other than that, everything was smooth sailing. Now I don't know if that's for everybody. I'm assuming it is, dude, because I haven't seen no negative stuff. One thing I see kind of negative coming over is from the press, but the press already has this idea of what Xbox is and what they should be. Let me see. In other words, among every single person in the U.S. who turned on an Xbox Series console on Monday, over half of them play Call of Duty. Over half of all daily active players on a platform playing one game is bonkers engagement. Piscatella notes. The previous record for this metric was 34% of Xbox Series players set on August 31st, 2024, and 27% of PS5 players set on September 7th. Right, and again, this goes to the narrative, right? This is why I'm sharing this. And if people are going to come in, I wanted to kind of talk about this, but I'll talk about it. I know everybody's busy, but this is what I mean. Look, dude, I'll speak for myself, and I'll speak for the people in our group, dude. We all knew, dude. The only thing you have to the only thing I'll speak for myself. The only thing I was looking at is how, since Microsoft's metric is engagement, how the engagement's going to be. I knew this was going to be a success, dude. Call of Duty is an absolute juggernaut, dude. I've been playing this since Modern Warfare 2. Right, I've been playing. Prior to that, I was playing Halo, but I've been playing COD for years, dude, and it's a juggernaut, dude. So look, all of this stuff that was coming out, dude, that was all the Xbox tax, dude. Again, 2024 is still real. Everything's slanted against Xbox, even when they bought COD, the biggest brand on the block, right? I mean, this is how you know that you can't trust the gaming media, right? That there's bias, just like in like we're talking about politics today, just like in politics, dude, the media is biased, right? They can't see a lot of these guys again in the media, man. They grew up in a PlayStation generation. This is why they can't see anybody else being uh, making trends, doing stuff like this, like Xbox did. Even though Xbox is a $3 trillion company, Xbox is not poor, man. For all the time, this is why it blows my mind that these people sit here and say, Xbox is going out of business. Xbox is Xbox that, dude. Microsoft now, and I'll say Microsoft because it's Microsoft proper, dude. They're galvanizing everything, and they're leading the charge in the gaming industry. Nobody else is, right? They're going to set the standard, and everybody else follows. I don't care how many God of Wars you have or how many Pokemon you got, dude. I'm not making light of those. They're big brands, but it doesn't matter at the end of the day, dude. When you're a $3 trillion company, and then you put now they're focused on gaming. They weren't before, right? So that was to the benefit of the competition of Xbox, but not anymore, right? They're gonna do whatever they need to do, and then when you have Satya Nadella coming out there, totally blushing about the results that they're getting, right? I didn't agree with him. Again, I don't agree with him putting stuff on other platforms. But I'm at a point now where I'm like, well, as long as you don't put your main platform stuff on there, right? The stuff that actually is associated with your brand, because brand matters at the end of the day, as you can tell, because the PlayStation has run on success and failure, has run on has whether they've Sony and PlayStation have success or whether they failed, dude, the brand never falters, and that's the reality. So let me. But I just wanted to show that to you guys. As you guys know, I'm a huge proponent for Xbox, and I think it's important for everybody to get the full story on that. Again, I was not worried about it. I was just wondering what the levels were going to be, and the levels have far exceeded everybody's expectations. This is why you can't have people. You have the usual suspects, Dreamcast guy, and all these morons talking about it, right? But there is not a big push on this on social media, especially on YouTube. Like I said, there are people talking about it in a negative light, but that's if they want to do that, that's fine. That just further erodes their credibility, which they have. For me, a lot of these guys have none. For other people, they're waking up, listening to these people talk about Xbox in a certain way, even though the evidence is right there, the proof is right there that Xbox is more than able to handle all of the things that they're doing at one time. They can juggle more than one thing, right? And like I said, COD is a humongous franchise. Black Ops 6 was the game everybody thought it was going to be. And it's interesting, right? Because they updated it, but at the same time, kind of downgraded it. It's easier for me to navigate the menus on like other Call of Duties, right? They just don't overload you. They give you options, man, but it's not screaming in your face, right? It's not a blindly thing like buy this, get this, go this way. And I have no problem with buying online, but I'm just like, dude, let me get to the meat and potatoes of what this is, and that's what I've always loved about Black Ops, man. And again, shout out to Activision for realizing that, and I think they have. Right, but again, when these guys were on their own, right, money talks, dude. Now under Microsoft, again, this is where all the people call me a corporate slave and just want Microsoft to dominate everything, which I do. I'm being honest, I want them to. But this is the reason why, dude. It's more for the benefits than it is the negativity. And for me, Microsoft is all benefits right now. Again, it could change, man. Somebody could come here and just and turn the Apple Cart over, and then Microsoft could be that greedy corporation everybody was warning you about. Right, but right now, dude, I'm all along for the ride, dude. I'm all on board. I am not. I'm going to stay on this horse and ride it as far as I can because number one, they give me everything I want. I can afford to, and the quality is there. And the variety is there. They have everything. It's untouchable, honestly. And once people get past that, same thing as we're talking about politics. You see people crossing over to the Trump side, right? That in 2016, if you mention this man's name, you get crucified. right? If you talked about Trump or a Trump supporter, dude, they people want to kill you, right? They would cancel you. It was all of that in a bag of chips, right? 2020, a little bit, it was like that, but there's more people start waking up. But 2024 is a whole another ballgame, whole another beast, right? And to me, that's what Microsoft and Xbox is going to right now. Right? They're getting to that level where, if you guys didn't see, Square Enix came out with the with statements, right? What they're talking about, their future plans and stuff like that. And when you look at what they're doing, man, part of that plan is Xbox. Again, Phil was on the stage when they're in Vegas, man. Square Enix brought him on the stage, which I thought was cool, and that signaled, or should have signaled to all you Xbox guys, especially you guys who are supposedly true believers and fans, right? That should have signaled to you that it was a new day when it came to that relationship between Square Enix, Microsoft, and Xbox. And it was a wonderful day, and you're seeing the fruits of that labor. Shout out to Phil, shout out to Sarah, shout out to Matt Booty, so shout out to all those guys, man, because they're making it happen, dude. If you guys don't believe that, like, if you guys have Xboxes and you don't believe that, go look at your store right now. See the games that are dropping. Kind of look at those games. You might see they're a little bit different. Is that from America? No, they're not. Other countries are starting to developers in other countries and publishers and indies companies in other countries are beginning to recognize the potential for Xbox. And again, this is all the hard work. When people are wondering what's Sarah doing, what Phil's doing, what Matt doing, well, they're probably formulating ways to put more games on other consoles. No, they were out there doing the heavy lifting, right? And it's paying off, dude. I'm enjoying it, dude. So for the one or two, three things I have problems with when it comes to Xbox, there is over 50 things that I love the most, and it has to do with more than just gaming, right? It's the way I consume my media, the way that they are politically, right? I got some flack from some people, right? Because a lot of people know, like, if you were to guess how Microsoft as a company votes, which you don't have to guess, you can look at the numbers. People have posted on there. They're like 90+% vote for Democrats, and a lot of them vote for liberal policies. I'm pretty sure a lot of them support the right to choose as opposed to the right to life, right? It's it's a no-brainer, right? I mean, like, look, dude, I mean, yeah, like Kavari, you're saying, look at the figures. I 100% believe in that, but sometimes it's just in the pattern. It's just in the way they advertise things, right? It's all the how Microsoft believe that gaming is for everybody, right? Boom, that's the checkbox right there. Again, I say this all the time on the channel. When there's a certain time of the month, right, a certain time of the year, and then a certain month pops up, right, and you have throughout the year, and they participate in all of them. Shoot, even me, Asian Pacific Islander month, right? They put that on there, right? And the thing that people don't realize, and I want to make this point, because some people say, well, it's just corporate greed. They're just finding a way to monetize their stuff. Yeah, they are. But I'm gonna tell you, if you're an Xbox guy, dude, and especially if you're a conservative and Xbox guy, and this stuff bothers you, dude, then you're gonna have to learn to hold your nose, because they are believers. Especially the crew we have right now running Xbox. Sorry, let me let this guy pass real quick, and then we'll continue. So if you have right leanings and you're on Xbox, because you see that happening right now, a lot of the right leaning people, or a lot of the Kavari, to your point, how you're saying there's pop culture. A lot of these pop culture people are getting red pilled, so they're talking about this stuff in those terms, right? I mean, they probably wouldn't want to be on Xbox side. But I tell you guys all the time, I'm a pro Xbox channel, so I'm always going to keep it 100 with you guys, regardless of what my political opinion is, right? I do not like a lot of the gay pride stuff that Microsoft does, but on the flip side, if I put my rainbow up there and I quote the Bible, right, about why the rainbow exists, what does that rainbow actually stand for, right? I don't get any blowback from Microsoft. Again, this goes to the point of what I was talking about earlier. We'll pivot back, Kavari, and I'll follow this. But anyway, to close up on Call of Duty, absolutely awesome, love it. Go get the game if you're a COD fan. You won't be disappointed. Or get an Xbox and get Game Pass. Or well, Game Pass is on PC. Just get Game Pass or go buy the game. It's awesome. A lot of people are doing both. And kudos out to Game Pass, man. A lot of people, all the haters out there, I didn't take them seriously, but it's good to see them eat humble pie, because Game Pass is killing it when it comes to Call of Duty. Because you guys don't understand the way it's working, guys. You don't have to buy the game now. But you subscribe to Game Pass. That's every month. I do the math. See how much you can spend in a year. Okay, that's that. Number two, they have microtransactions in the game. Yeah. And they don't force you to buy it, dude. At least there's no tie-in like a lot of the mobile games and stuff like that. I can appreciate that. And that's how they're gonna get my money. This is what I've been doing with Dark Tide, right? I could buy the game if I want to, especially now it's on sale. Right? In fact, I probably should because it's cheap enough. But it's in Game Pass. I'm writing it out. I thought I was gonna have to buy it because they were saying that it was gonna leave, but they kept it in, which I think is smart because right now with their other game, their other Warhammer game out there, they've been killing it, right? So why choke the golden goose? Because a lot of people, I've seen the player count go up, from my experience when it comes to Dark Tide, and people are coming in there, and I know they're buying stuff. I just bought stuff, right? So it's those, and again, you're just one cog in the machine. What does it hurt? I mean, are they really making money on $10? Remember, it's not just you; it's all the other people that are doing it. This is the model that Microsoft is shifting to. This is why Satya Nadella is all happy. He came out and he shared some figures and some facts, right? Talked to the employees, like, hey, look, this is where we are, this is what we're doing, right? He dropped $1 billion franchises, right? That's annually $1 billion franchises that they have annually, right? Which is amazing. It blows my mind, right, that they're doing that. But again, if I had a problem with Microsoft, you would know because I wouldn't be. I'd step away if they were that bad. Right? And again, I gotta represent honestly. Like I might not agree with a lot of the things that Microsoft does, or a few of this. Actually, just a couple of things Microsoft does, and I'll make that opinion known. Right? But I have to keep it 100. Plus, for some of these people, right? I'm not saying I disagree with what they're saying, but they're also not Xbox people, right? So I know a lot of them don't have the consoles, right? They're just basing it off the stories, which I'm not saying that they're wrong factually, right? But there's nuance to it that they don't understand because they don't play in the ecosystem. They don't have a Game Pass subscription, right? They don't play most of the games, right? Like a lot of the people that was commenting on Halo and saying how it's going downhill. And I'm looking at them and I'm like, dude, you don't know anything about the game. So how can I take your opinion as truth? Kavari, like he challenged me earlier, right? About which is fine. Yeah, I don't mind being challenged. And I'm not saying I'm super smart. What I'm saying is this is an interest of mine, so I try and keep abreast of it because I just find it interesting, almost like a hobby, just like how I play games. But okay, but so like if you don't like if you're on the right side, like you're really on the right side, and this stuff offends you, and you don't want to support certain communities, then just heads up, Xbox does. And again, like I said, it's not just corporate greed or corporate tagline. They're ideological. They're true believers within the corporation. And I think the corporation itself, even though a lot of these corporations, right? You see it on the news, right? They say one thing, but they have to do another because at the end of the day, corporations need to make profit. This is why I don't think they should get involved. Like you could, like if you have a big organization, man, and there's somebody that believes in something, dude. I don't think you should make that the priority. But at the same time, I don't think you should ostracize that person. I'll say that much. Right. In fact, when you go to work, just work. That's how I am at work, dude. When I show up for work, dude, and there's drama going on and stuff like that, I'm like, dude, how do you have time to do drama, dude? We busy. Budget is tight, dude. We have to make certain things happen. So take that energy and put it into that, and then it'll quash all the drama, right? Because you're too busy working, which is what you're supposed to be doing, right? Honestly, right? Especially at the job I have, dude, there's a lot of checks and balances that have to be gone through, right? So if you focus on that, now I'm saying people get tired, you take a break, right? That's good too, man. But a lot of the world's problems will be solved, dude, if you just squash drama, right? And so anyway, I had to let you guys know that because I am a pro Xbox channel, but I am on the right side of things. But I do see that um, happening right now, dude. It doesn't serve me well if I'm dishonest just because of my political beliefs. Because at the end of the day, I participate in an ecosystem of people that are more on the liberal bent. Now, I will say election has consequences, and these guys are paying for it. All you guys are in the tech industry getting laid off, man. Take a hard look at how you vote and what this means to those people. I know a lot of you guys' eyes has opened up during AKB trial, right? Did you realize how inept the government is, and the government has an agenda, and that agenda was Microsoft, right? Again, it's the classic comic book conundrum with supervillains, right? This is why they always lose. There's a lot of times the supervillains should win their battles, right? They're either more stronger, they're more diabolical. They have no they have no moral compass, right? They'll do whatever it takes to win. So that's why they should do it. But it's within their own flaws that they end up falling. That's why I love comic books, at least classical comic books. I love that story, the hero story, the tragedy, the comedy of things, right? Like you look at Doctor Doom and Loki, man. That's a power block right there, dude. These dudes are MVP. There is no way that the superheroes should be able to beat these two, man. They're unscrupulous, dude. They're the kind of diabolical that's scary because they're intelligent, both of them, right? Loki, with his background, he's basically eternal, right? He has wealth of generations of knowledge. Their advanced civilization, the Asgard. Right? There's all these things working out for him. Then you got Doctor Doom, dude, who's on the same level, if not more, on the same level, if a little bit lower than Reed Richards, right? But then he brings all his other stuff to the table, right? Because at the end of the day, a lot of heroes, again, this is why it's hard writing for Superman. Um, they're bound by their heroism, where villains don't have that, right? Case in point, Joker. Right? Joker has had some vicious storylines within Batman. I'm not even a DC guy, and I know this stuff. I've actually read the comic books, but they're just good written comics, great art, great story arcs. This is why DC tends to do better in the supervillain department in Marvel. We'll just get that out of the way real fast. But yeah, dude, it's a classic combo that should work, and it never does. Why? Because they always fail. They fail because of their own hubris, envy, greed, the classical stuff that ends up, exploding. Plus, again, there can only be one. That's the main juxtapose of that, dude. Because it's not going to be Loki and Doctor Strange or Doctor Doom or Doctor Doom and Loki. It's just going to be one either or. And that's what you saw with the AKB trial, just to bring it back. That's what you saw with the AKB trial, right? Because the government understands. I have my opinions on the election of 2020, right? I think the main players of that were in cahoots with each other. But the problem with that is they got to see how each other is. There can only be one, like I said. Sorry, Kavari, I'll bring it back. I will address the comment. Um, it's big tech. I say this all the time: big tech versus big government, and it's like Highlander. There can only be one. So pick your poison, dude. You don't want either of them. I'll be honest with you. I think the tech industry got humbled. I think they deserved it. They're a little bit proud, a little bit haughty. Pride comes before a fall, right? And so they're feeling themselves a little bit too much, man. And the people that work in that industry, and they got a rude awakening with this economy, which they voted for, by the way. So I do sympathize with them, but I also sympathize in the reality of their choice. So it is what it is. Government also realized that, and this is why they're coming. The only problem with government is they're 1,000 times more inept than tech. In fact, tech isn't as they're not even on the same level. Government is just, if I'm being honest, it's just a waste of time and energy and money for the most part. There's a necessity within government, foundational stuff that I believe in. Right, of course. If you guys know my background, follow me on social media. I think defense of the country is important. I'm not. I get labeled a war hawk, but I do believe that we need to project force around the world for various reasons, and it's not just to dominate our will. And that's the problem, right? This is what I talked about earlier in the podcast. When people react to me and call me certain names, it's because of what they think. It's because of their own opinions or thoughts of what I mean when I say certain things. So that's why I don't get mad. For all you guys are like, oh, how can you talk to people and not get upset? Because I know me and I know what I believe. That's the most important thing, and I recommend that for everybody. Can't say you can't learn. In fact, I say learning is good. There's some stuff that we knew back in the day that now, because of advancements in science and technology, we know not to be true. So that should be with everybody, right? Open mind, and most importantly, be honest with yourself. Like, why do I believe this? Why am I voting for this person? Why do I believe in this party? Why do I think that law is important? Right? Like, take the time to do a deep dive, man. You'd be surprised if you do that. You'd be surprised how much things don't really matter to you. You see that all the time on TV, right? When somebody gets questioned right away, it's like, I'm voting for Kamala or Kamala. I'm voting for her because I believe in this. I believe in her, what she's going to do. They give you the whole thing. And then all it takes is somebody says, okay, so what's one of her policies you support? And then they just go blank, right? Because they don't think about it. Now, I'm not saying I see it happen on the Trump side too, but not as much on the dude on the Kavari, man. On your guys' side, dude, it's bad. Like, you can tell they never thought about it. On the Trump side, you normally see like, I don't know, dude. I just want America to be great, which I don't have a problem with, right? But again, he's not going into why, right? But most people on the Trump side will tell you specifically why, right? Because a lot of them hated him. A lot of them hated that man. So when they're questioned about it now, they come from a side they normally did not support him. Most of the people now supporting him did not support him. You can go online and look at it, dude. The amount of people, some of them don't even like him right now, but because things are so bad in either in their situation and just in the country in general and what's going on all over the globe, it was a wake up call for them. It's forced them to challenge themselves, which I find is beautiful personally. Kavari, I'm speaking to you, Deborah. I think it's beautiful that it does that because that's how people grow and that's how people learn and people know. And people don't have to. Like, there's people that I'm sure that looked at it and I'm like, well, regardless, I'm not going to do that because I just can't get over, the things that he says or the way that he acts. In fact, because that's what I get questioned on. How can a person who are you a Christian? Like, can you support him? The usual stuff, right? How can you do this? And I'm able to formulate an answer, right? Because I know why I support this dude. I am supporting him, but I supported him in 2016, 2020, and 2024. I'll be honest with you guys. 2016, it was more of a joke to me, right? Because in fact, I said, look, I'm just gonna put this out there, right, dude. I just think his daughter is like one of the most beautiful. You can disagree with that. I just think she's a beautiful woman. So I would joke around with my friends like, "Oh, I'm voting for a daughter, But as time went on, and then I listened to what he was saying, right? And at the time, I was taking courses, man, and we had to break down the election, and it was amazing to me. And it was, I think, if it wasn't for the course, and it's funny. It's the class I did not want to take because I thought because of my own preconceived notions about the class and what it actually was. And when I actually took the class, I was like, okay, this is because I've taken what other people tell me and informed myself based on their opinions as opposed to actually taking the class, which I'm glad I did because it taught me something about this class. Right? It taught me that because it's it's like it taught me that there's a science, sociology, right? So every time I hear sociology, right, again, I put myself on blast. I think socialism, right? For some reason, that's where my mind goes. But I'm cognizant of that, right? But you need to take this class, and after I took the class, I didn't realize that it's basically a science. It's just that where it comes to where you get the evidence and how you draw your conclusions, it's a little bit more different than if you're using math or formulas or testing and proving with actual ingredients or chemicals and stuff like that. What I got out of the class for sociology was that it was a study of history, study of patterns, studies of culture, and there's an actual cyclical nature to human events, right? And that's important if you're going to be an analyst, right? If you're going to be an analyst, you're going to have to recognize patterns and stuff like that. But most importantly, the first thing my instructor taught me is you have to check your bias. That was the most important thing. So in doing so, when I was watching the election unfold, I was just kind of blown away by a lot of the experts who was on TV telling people, no, this won't happen. No, that's absolutely not true. And I was doing the research myself because, well, number one, we had to do it. It was part of the class, not to get political, but to study it. Right? It just happened to be the shoot du jour, and then the instructor thought it was something good that we could do, and it was interesting because I could tell the instructor's politics right from the jump. He didn't hide it either when he was questioned on it. But the great thing about it is he didn't beat you over the head with it. So you could have actual conversations about this stuff. And the first thing that I saw in 2016 that I knew was bogus was the blue wall, was the Rust Belt. Was the Rust Belt because you had a lot of people saying that wall, that blue wall, the Rust Belt was intact when you could actually, if you actually dive into it, and it didn't take much. You just go and look at it, and then you could tell, right, there was cracks in that wall, and that wall was first slowly crumbling, and then all of a sudden, boom, it just fell. Like it was broken. And these guys for months were saying, no, she's gonna do this, she's gonna do that, and that's where they got these ridiculous, like she was gonna get over 300 electoral votes. And there's other things to factor in, like how unpopular she was, right? How people were put off by her, right? There's like all these little things that you have to look at, right? But anyway, at the end of the day, when you saw what he was doing, right? But because he's an idiot, because he's a racist, because he's a fascist, because he's a Nazi. Now, if you're a person that don't like him, don't do that. If you're a person that like him, of course you saw more than to it. But if you're a person that don't like him, don't do that either. That doesn't serve you well. As you have to be honest about it, man. This is why a lot of people, when that election happened, dude, they was crying, dude. I was sitting there watching this, dude, just blown away by it. Dude, I was just sitting there watching this whole thing unfold and watch people absolutely lose their minds because they honestly felt, right, everything that they were gaslit to believe. They believed it. Everything that they thought, like, like how she's going to destroy him, how they're going to win big, and then after that didn't happen, then how it's going to be end of the world. And then if everybody's being honest, and you look at his first 4 years that he did, dude, the country is definitely in a better spot. He made mistakes, right? And if you guys want to talk about that, we can break it down. But at the end of the day, man, after those 4 years, dude, it was for what most people are concerned about too. So dude, he was doing stuff outside the box, and that's probably his biggest superpower, probably, is his ability to think outside the box. But Trump has concepts of plan, whereas Kamala actually has a plan to cut red tape, build 6 million new homes, and give new parents a child tax credit. Bro, this is everything. Politicians do this all the time. And I can tell you one thing that blew this up right now is Trump said that there's no income tax. None of this matters, dude. He says that he's going to cut the income tax. Not cut it. I'm sorry. He's going to kill the income tax. He's going to close the IRS. He's going to, and there's no income tax, bro. There's no income tax. All of this plans to cut red tape, build 6 million new homes, and give new parents a child care. This is nothing. This is nothing. This means nothing. Now, there's a deep discussion that needs to be had if he actually does that. And people are scared right now because they know he will. Both people who support him and people don't support him. They know that this dude, he has no problem pulling that trigger, right? So there's a lot of people right now in federal service that are scared. I'm telling you right now, dude. But all of this you just posted right here, bro, means absolutely nothing. He destroyed this because this is what the Democrats were doing, right? They were just being politicians. Republicans did the same thing. Oh, what we got to do is we got to get the middle class and you can have kids and we'll give you something. Dude, they're just basic. All taxes is, a tax return you get at the end of it. That's your own money. You're just getting your own money back. It's one of the biggest Ponzi schemes, dude. It drives me nuts. Sorry if I'm being passionate, but the taxes just drives me nuts, dude. How they've been able to, it's a Ponzi scheme. At the end of the day, it's a Ponzi scheme, right? And then it never actually works out, right? But to your point, I think you're the one that was saying it earlier, right? The rich. Right, the rich, yeah, because the rich already has a lot of money. They pay more, right? But this is why they find ways not to pay money, right? The people that suffers, dude, is the middle class and the people below the poverty level. Dude. This is why homelessness is so bad in this country right now, dude. On top of all the drugs that are coming across the border, all this stuff, and then people can't afford to live. People can't afford homes, bro. So what do you? And then her big thing was, oh yeah, we'll give you $25,000. First, I thought they were going to cut a check for $25,000. That's what I thought they were. But all that is going to be some tax credit. You know what the housing market's going to do? It's just going to raise the prices. It's happening right now. It's happening all around you, dude. Houses the ridiculous of it, right? The ridiculousness of it. The houses that should be no more than 300,000. Where I live, dude, every house is over $1 million. And that thing is run down, decrepit, right? Like some of these homes, or actually most of these homes, they're old, bro. They're from the 50s and 60s, dude. Hawaii is an expensive place to live. Right, so people don't have that kind of cash flow. So you buy a house, right, and that house is over $1 million plus. You have to buy that house, pay for that house, pay the taxes on that house. Then you have to rebuild that house because you can't live in that house. It's going to collapse upon you, dude. There's all kind of problems with the house, right? So they pay the land, pay that. Then they have to buy a new house or build a new house and buy it, right? And then pay the absorbent taxes on all of that kind of stuff. And the kicker is that the only people that can afford to do that is the people that these guys war against. Right? Dude, it's a vicious cycle, bro. Like there's people that I listen to and they're like so anti and they're so anti-rich and they're so this and that, but their bread and butter is totally funded by rich people, wealthy people, because rich and wealthy people, there is a difference, right? And because that's the only people that can afford to do this kind of stuff, right? I mean, it's amazing to me that people don't understand this. Right? And then if you're gonna live here, dude, I heard that I was watching some video where the person said the property tax is lower here in this state than most states, and I was like, oh, that's good to know. But I mean, all the other extra, like today, I found out, like, dude, I got that safety check, like they were worried about my tires, man. So that's what place off 4 tires that used to be for me used to be about 500, probably gonna be about 800. Then I have to renew my insurance. Well, dude, I'm dropping $1,200-1,300 in one pop. And that's what I'm saying. And I'm not the only one. There's multiple people dealing with this stuff right now. those expenditures, man, that you didn't expect, or that you didn't bother, or you didn't mind, man, because my insurance used to be like $90, right? And you budget for that, right? You live your life accordingly. You got to do what you got to do, right? But when somebody isn't, oh well, but when people are doing that and they get hit out of the blue, or if somebody isn't, dude, this is how you get people get homeless. A lot of people are just like one bad thing away, bro, from not for living on the street. Most just vote which is the lesser of evil for them. Either way, good luck, America. Yeah, thanks, Cygnus. Yeah, at the end of the day, all politics is local. I believe that as well. You have a lot of these on the Kamala side. You have a lot of these celebrities coming out. I think most people have made up their mind. I don't think they have a large impact on whether for or pro. There's people on the fence. They say, I don't know, dude. If you haven't made up your mind by now, dude, I don't deal with people like that. I don't talk with people like that. Like every time you watch a news show, it's like, well, I'm still looking at my options. I'm like, dude, I don't give the people the time of day. I mean, they can have that opinion if they want to, but if you step to me and you start talking like that to me, I'm like, no, dude, no thanks. Yeah, I'll go forever, and then I walk away because I don't do that, bro. I don't. If you don't know, then maybe you shouldn't vote. That's just my personal opinion. Like I respected my kids. It's the same as my kids came to me, like, Dad, I don't want to vote. I'm like, yeah, fine. They were worried. They were like, you know, um, they're like, oh, Dad, I don't know. I just don't, because maybe they don't like either, or you know, they just didn't want to vote, and I was totally fine with that because I respect that. Right? Better than do that than to vote for somebody they have no idea about or they don't care about, or because they're pressured to vote for somebody else. And it's funny, dude, because I know there's like I threw away their ballots back because I'm like, because they're kind of like, well, Dad, like, no, dude, I'm not gonna vote for you. In fact, I tell people that all the time. They come to me, it's like, hey, you know about this stuff, man. What should I do? I'm like, look, dude, what you should do is read and educate yourself. Right? Because I'm not gonna tell you what to vote for. Then later on, it's something you don't like. Then you're gonna come back on me. Right? Do it yourself, dude. And if you're not sure, don't vote. Yeah, I don't believe in that rock the vote stuff, dude. The whole purpose of rock the vote, to your point there, Kavari, the whole purpose of rock the vote, man, that was a democratic mechanism, man, because young people tend to skew liberal and vote Democrat. And then the Republicans are stupid enough to go there. Oh yeah, we need the youth to get involved. No, you don't. I grew up in a time when the youth would go to spring break and fall off of balconies, get wasted, get arrested, smoke weed. Right? That was my generation. Probably the last group of people you want voting for anything. Right? But that was the movement, and I know why. So to your point, Kabari, man, you Democrats, bro, you got it on lockdown. I'll tell you that. I'll agree with you on that one. You guys do not. You guys are like. I'll be honest with you, man. You guys remind me of ponies. I just, dude. You guys stay on point. You guys stay on message, man. More power to you, brother. But yeah, Cygnus. Yeah, thanks, bro, and thanks for being here. If you want to talk about it, if you guys have chat, if you guys want to talk about anything with Xbox, I'm fine with that too. Again, I'm a pro Xbox channel, but usually when I do the pro Xbox stuff, then politics bleeds in. So I want to do just a podcast where it's focused on politics, so everybody know what's up, and they don't have to watch it if they don't want to. Toolman says, "What's up? What's up, Toolman, bro? Welcome for being here, brother. Did you vote early?" I'm asking because this is the politics podcast. I'm pretty sure people get mad, dude. I'll title it. I'll put the topics out. We don't even get to the topics, and then we start talking about stuff that that's not even in the thing. But I do try and let people know this is like a Google Hangouts, man. There's no format, dude. I don't script any of this. There's no script. There's no nothing, dude. It's just off the cuff, which some people like. So, yeah, but man, I hope everything's okay with you, man. I voted. I didn't turn my vote in until was it Thursday, Friday? And the reason why is because there are some people who just car pass. Hey, man, a lot of vehicles today. The reason I didn't vote right away is because there's some people I had to look up on that ballot, man. Hawaii, where I live, dude, there's specific offices because of certain issues we have here in the state that you really have to take a look into because it's not on a national level. So everybody, of course, everybody's sharing their pictures on X or Facebook of who they voted for. Where I live, dude, it's a little bit different because there's offices that are more specific to the city and the county and the state of Hawaii. So most of that stuff is not put out there. They try and do a good job, like the local public television service and radio service. They try and Like they'll have interviews with these people and stuff like. But it was weird this year, man. It was like I don't know because everybody's broke, so you really couldn't. I imagine how much it must have cost to make signs this year. Must have been crazy, dude. Ink is ridiculous. And I hardly saw anybody standing on corners, though I know that you had choices to make. So, and look, the incumbents aren't going to cry about it because that favors them. Unfortunately, the people that were challenging, they should have done more effort and put stuff out there. Because I think people, as you can tell by this year, this election, man, it's bigger, right? Everything matters. So there's a lot of people that would have loved to see their platform, but they just didn't put it out there. And I went online and looked at some of them. So one guy, I was kind of like, I don't agree with him totally. So I was willing to give the other person a chance that stepped in, but she had nothing on what she believed. So I just stuck with that dude because at least he did the process. All right. So it is what it is. But yeah, welcome to man, brother. But hey, Chad, if you guys got anything you want to talk about, just throw it out there. But this is kind of like when I do this podcast, this is kind of what it's going to be like. We're really politically heavy today because of the election, which is next week. And I'm going to be off that day. But not for anything political. I know there's a lot of because of what happened in 2020, whether you believe it or not, or agree with it or not. You know, there's a lot of people paying more attention to the polling places this year. I'm not one of those people. I'm not. Where I live, we are a deep blue state. It'll take an act of God to change that for reasons, man. It's not just because, and it has less to do with liberal policies and stuff like that. Most people here are actually, if I'm being honest, this is a conservative state by how they live, right? By how they vote blue because there's a lot of unions here. Cost of living's high here. It is a kind of a mega. It's a mega metropolitan area because it's an island, right? Even though most people look at the urban places as being Honolulu or Waikiki, right? Because the radius of the island, dude, it's basically the whole island. There's some country left here, but not much. You have to go on the opposite side of the island where I live, and then you get a little bit of country. But because things are so, you know, we get so many tourists and get more people moving here, dude. There's traffic everywhere, dude. So I just look at this island as one big urban center at this point, and most urban centers will vote blue. That's just the way it is, and we are no different. That's why we're a blue state, dude. There's a lot of programs, a lot of funding. Federal comes in, state, we pay a lot of money for stuff, dude. Like I had to get rid of my Uber, man. I love the convenience of Uber, because things were expensive anyway in the store. You know what I'm saying? But at some point, they just started like nickel and diming every little thing. And I felt sorry for the company because they want to be. I'm sure they do good business here. But at the end of the day, man, it's just too much, man. Because everybody has to get their cut, and this is why a lot of companies that they don't make it here. This is why there's tourists that come here and they're like, oh, you guys don't have like a, well, we just got it, but like, oh, there's no Chick-fil-A here, or there's no In-N-Out Burger, which is surprising. And I'm like, yeah, dude, because at the end of the day, if they bring their company here, it costs a lot of money. Like for what you guys are, because I hear people complaining about how much it costs to go out to eat, especially fast food, dude. It's twice as bad here, and that's the reality of living in a state like I live in. So that's what I mean, dude. I already live in a blue state. And I do not want to live in a blue country. You can't miss me with all that trash. And again, I was dealing with this in 2016, dude. I was called every name in the book. There's people that are no longer my friends. There's family that was mad at me. But you know, the usual about what I do. But little did they know, dude, that I grew up a nerd. Number one, I grew up a Christian. I was raised by my grandmother as a Christian, and on top of that, I was a big nerd. There's no two more ostracized groups back in the day when I was growing up, dude. So I was born to be this way, dude. Because a lot of my opinions, man, do not gel with whatever box people want to put me in. And I think that should be for everybody, man. Look, dude, it's a lot of times, dude, it's not a one for one when it comes to this stuff, man. If you work in a certain field, right? If you want to live a certain lifestyle, right? If you want to have a family, right? Or if you want to be single, right? A lot of that has to be factored in, man. It's not a one size fit all. It's not a cookie cutter thing. This is why I can't stand what the government does, because that's all the government can do, right? When they mandated stuff like the shots, dude, I was totally against that. And then, there was stuff happening that they didn't want to talk about. And it just became this narrative. This is why you can never trust the media. I mean, I never trusted them before that. I really don't trust them now. Oh, I can't stand them, dude. If they went away, I think it'd be fine. We need to go back to more grassroots, organic type of reporting. Because at the end of the day, that doesn't influence as much and you can choose yourself what you want to listen to, what you don't want to listen to. Breaking it down is as simple as gaming. Do play on the platform you want to play on. Play. I'll do the Microsoft tagline: play where you want to play, when you want to play, with who you want to play. Right. That's basically. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it is, dude. Listen to what I want to listen to. The only thing I ask you guys is to challenge yourselves. I do that to myself every day, especially with some of the people I hang around with. Man, we're not aligned politically, right? But then they bring stuff to my attention, and I was like, I didn't know that. Now, would that change my mind about a lot of stuff? Most of the time, no. But I try and keep an open mind and see what they're saying. Right? Me and Google Poll was talking about stuff that bordered on the spiritual realm, right? And I want to start talking about that on this channel. So we shared a couple of videos, man, that to have each other checked out. I watched this, and I felt bad because mine was way longer. His one was only 3 minutes, but it was really interesting, right? Because it kind of gels some of the stuff that we touched on in the podcast, but we're coming from two different perspectives. Mine is from more the spiritual Christian perspective, and where he's coming from more of the, I think, from more of the I want to say new age. I don't want to put him in the whole. Go if I'm wrong. You can correct me when you come on. But we're looking at something the same way, but just from different points of view, different perspective. But we can. I feel like we can have this discussion because we could. We respect each other enough to go down that rabbit hole and talk about it in detail without anybody. Look, we'll get passionate. I know we were talking about foreign policy the other time, and I could tell like you're passionate about it, right? And you definitely have some connections outside of the politics, and I'm the same way, right? So that basically like that might be like a Christian. I don't know. I haven't decided how I'm gonna do that podcast, guys, but it's definitely going to be Christ. There's definitely going to be Christian based topics because I am a Christian, and that's my perspective. So I'm going to look at it from that perspective, but we'll share a lot of different things because I think everything that's happening in the world right now, there's a lot of stuff being revealed, a lot of unknowns being known, that kind of stuff, dude. If you're paying attention, especially, you can see it. But even people that are not charged spiritually are beginning to realize something's not right, something's going on. This is what this impacts all the stuff we're talking about today with the election, right? That's definitely one of these things. So, I mean, and I want to have these discussions, man. I mean, I think it's interesting. At the end of the day, it's interesting to me. I can keep myself in that hat. Just the interesting, just the analytics, just the patterns, just the flow of everything, right? Because one of the things we talked about, it was interesting because the guy I watched, he's a Christian, but his outlook, again, I think it's because of his background, and he has a great channel. Oh my gosh, I'm just, dude, sorry guys. I feel bad if I don't. Dude, I don't even know. Oh, Ruslan is his name. I'm trying to type this in. Dude, it's funny because I was watching something got politically charged, and I guess Cardi B came out and talked about like she's supporting Kamala Harris, and a lot of these celebrities are coming out now. So because in YouTube my stuff is politically slanted, dude, I ended up like going to like videos and stuff like that because it goes from politics to the artists and it goes into their stuff, and so I have to clear my history thing. Not that I guess though, I was just like, dude, this algorithm is tripping, man. Hold on, guys. Okay, that's not. Sorry, I am the anti unlimited truth. Unlimited shake. He probably shaking his head every time he listens to my podcast, dude. And I'm over here with these big gaps trying to figure out how to get this stuff going, how to get stuff running. Dude, come on, man. I gotta find something, dude. But so I just want to give you guys a taste, man, of how this could go on my channel. And I'm not saying I'm going to be like this guy. This guy's pretty untouchable to me. He's really good. But he covers a lot of different topics. To your point, if you're still there, where's my boy at? Kavari. if you're still there. To your point, if you're, how you talk about where people on the right aren't charged politically, I agree with you. But that's changing, right? Because they're being forced to change, right? After all these, I say over the last 10 years, they were forced to change. So sorry, dude. Please bear with me, guys. Dang it, I can't find it, dude. I'm trying to find his. See, this is what drives me nuts, man. I am ill prepared, dude. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? I know I have it here, dude. This is the way. Here it is. Sorry about the playback. I don't mean to. I mean for the extra audio. That's not what I'm trying to do here. I'm gonna try and find this guy's video and then try and run it as short as possible. But all his videos are pretty long, so I don't know if I can do that. You know what? I gotta clean this up too, man, because this is there. This is the one that I shared. This is we'll just do a brief thing on this, man, because we got some time, and I see that some people are chopped off, but that's fine. So this is the kind of stuff on the next podcast that we're going to be doing when it comes to. I got to think of a title for it, man. Just like the podcast, politics and pop culture was perfect for this one.
Spiritual realm. They discovered something much worse. Now, this discovery is unlike anything we've ever covered on this channel. We have covered a former intelligence officer who blew the whistle about a possible alien cover-up just several months ago. But this isn't just an AWOL government official. This is an actual CIA report listing the steps on how you can enter the spiritual realm. They discovered this system called the Gateway Process while exploring ways to use mind control against foreign enemies. Now, what is the Gateway Process, and how does this tie into something that's clear as day in Scripture? This report is a training system designed to focus brainwave output to alter consciousness and ultimately escape the restrictions of time and space. Now, if that sounds like a mouthful, I'm going to unpack it and really try to simplify it for you guys in a minute. I heard about this CIA report from the What If Alt History channel. And based on what was discovered in this CIA report, he came to this conclusion.
The conclusion I'm surprised people haven't reached from this, which the ancients all believed, is that if consciousness creates reality, that means there must be a perceiver to the universe. What this has done is prove the existence of God. If someone has to perceive the universe even before life, that means God is perceiving it. And this is the argument the ancients used to justify the existence of God.
But this isn't all sunshine and rainbows. Matter of fact, by the end of this video, I will make an argument that the thing they think they discovered is not just the spiritual realm and proof for God. It's actually something much, much worse. But before we get into that, guys, my name is Ruslan. This channel exists to encourage, empower, and inspire you to live a life that blesses God. So if you're new here, or if you're not new here, please make sure you hit that subscribe button, as a huge percentage of the people who watch this channel are unfortunately not subscribed. All right, now let's jump into the video.
So I just wanted to give I don't want to share his own video, man. I don't want to, well, kudos to Ruslan, dude. I've been watching this guy for like almost 2 years now, or maybe a year and a half, somewhere around there. And the reason why I got into this is because, of course, as we're talking about politics, a lot of the conspiracy theory and stuff like that, which a lot of this stuff has been shown to be conspiracy fact, unfortunately. Because you don't like to think the worst, especially when it comes to your government and the people that run the government and the people that are responsible. It's just like any big institution. People want to believe in it, right? Because at the end of the day, right, the power they wield, the influence that they have, on a personal level. A lot of you guys, when you guys go to the hospital with your doctors, with your lawyer that helps you with your financials or with your legal issues and stuff like that, you want the most credible, most trustworthy type people. And the last several years, we've been finding out. I mean, I'm naturally this way, untrusting in that sense when it comes to the powers that be, right? Because I understand the nature of man, and this is across the board. Man is very corrupt and evil and wicked. It's in our nature to be that way. So it takes somebody who is outside of that mold, which means that it has somebody that's righteous, somebody that does the right thing, that looks at things from a more um, like justice, order, um, the use of strength and power, how to utilize those kind of things, has to have some kind of moral code or moral compass of some kind. And I'm not saying it. I mean, for me, it's if it's Christian, that's awesome. But if it's not, you have to have like the golden rule, for example, right, and stuff like that. And then what we found out the last decade, right, is especially in the political realm, a lot of these people are not like this at all. In fact, they're a lot of the reasons why we have the problems that we have in our country right now, and it's unfortunate. It really is because what's happening is a lot of the trust that people had with these institutions has slowly been eroded, and now it's completely collapsed, right? And so when I was looking at this kind of stuff from that perspective, I was caught off guard. I'm not gonna lie, dude. As much as I read the Bible, I grew up in church. My grandma was a God-fearing woman. I know stuff that's very fundamental when it comes to Christianity, and I was caught off guard. I was caught off guard with the perspective that he was saying, as well as other people, um, when it comes to the realm of Christianity and what's going on with people talking about supernatural things. Because I've been one of those people. I've said it on my channel, and there's a reason why I enjoy, because I've been challenged on that as well. I love mythology. I love reading about mythology. I love reading about pagan cultures from that perspective of history, or enjoy the stories and the culture, imbibing that kind of stuff. And people will challenge me all the time, like, how can you as a Christian look and read and watch this kind of stuff? And I'm like, well, if it's not grossly inappropriate, it's easy for me to do it because I don't believe in it. Right? I don't think it's real. In fact, one of the reasons why I love mythology so much is because to me, it's actually based on the human condition. Right? If you look at the Greek gods or even the Roman gods, they're super flawed to a fault. Like they're actually more human than them being the focus of the story. Of course, a lot of the times, especially in the more Western modernized thing, they're actually a great case study. And so for somebody like me who's kind of have analytical leanings, it's a great case study on human nature because they basically are just nothing more than flawed human beings at the end of the day. So I don't look at them as God beings and stuff like that. And then there's some stuff I've been reading into right now. And the reason why I like this guy's channel, right, is because he also talks a bit in light of scripture. And there's other people that do that as well. That I feel he's one of the better ones. Ruslan is, but there's this other guy, Wise Disciple, that I follow, and he's really in tune with that as well. And it's challenging me. It's forcing me to, like I tell you guys on my channel, I got to talk about stuff I'm interested in. This is what I'm interested in, outside of trying to level up on Call of Duty Black Ops 6, like I was trying to do last night. Again, double XP weekend. If you like the Nuketown map, like I love that map. It's available now. Go and play it, dude, and you'll get choked. I've leveled up from, I think I was in my 30s. I'm already like 45, right? Because they give you double XP. But getting back to the point, sorry. But there's a lot of things that I have to do on this channel that I'm interested in, and that's one of the things I'm interested in. And look, dude, I'll tell you, this is my sounding board. This is my soapbox. If people want to come along for a ride, that's fine. This is kind of my therapy in some senses, right? Because I get to talk about something that I really like. And there's only so much we can talk about gaming, man. It's until like Sony dies. I mean, until that happens, there's really not much more we can say. We'll cover the news. I'm Xbox all in, always will be. But I mean, we'll cover the news from that perspective, right? And there's a lot of like for example, there was big news that came out that Microsoft, that Satya addressed the employees and the consumers and fans. They know what they're doing, right? And it's been Black Ops 6 has been a total success. We'll always talk about those kind of stuff because the media doesn't. There's always because they're talking about Black Ops 6 and how great it is and stuff like that. But there's always a backhanded comment or in their titles you see it where they're talking about it, but they're talking in a backhanded kind of way, right? Like in a sense, it's like, dude, you can't argue the success of Black Ops 6, and they're like, well, well, they should. They paid this much money for it. They'll go down the whole. Hold on, guys. I'll let this thing pass. I should have muted my mic, my bad. That's what we call the plate lunch or the lunch wagon. If you want to get a full meal, you stop that dude and pay him money, and he'll give you a plate lunch. Usually comes with rice and meat and some kind of mac salad or tossed salad. That's a local thing here. And it's delicious. Their food is really good. I just can't eat it anymore because I'm old. But yeah, dude, I mean, so... Oh, sorry, Cygnus. What do you think of the recent COD not mentioning sales numbers like the previous COD? It doesn't surprise me, Cygnus. In fact, I think they're trying to change the narrative. I've seen Satya talk about that. He's been talking about that, like they're looking at engagement. They're looking at engagement and how they can profit off engagement. I think this is why I hate the media, Cygnus. I don't like the fact that the way that they focus on console sales. Right. I think if they were more honest, they would talk about like console sales honestly. Like they would mention the cost of console sales and how it actually affects a lot of these companies, right? Because all three companies, because of the economy, right now they're doing things in their own way, certain way of, Sony, of course, with the console sales that they have, right? That's their focus. Nintendo as well. Nintendo's more on their software, but it's all about their Switch. For Microsoft, there's is anywhere, any place, anytime, right? They have different approaches, and I'll even say that as Nintendo has set itself apart, right? Because they're more focused on keeping everything in their ecosystem, where Sony is now trying to dip their toe in the water to go a little bit more multi-platform, and then Xbox is already there, as by what they've shown. But the most interesting thing to me is that they don't address it in that way. Like to me, and like when somebody talks about taxes, right? Like I just talked about earlier, where Cardi B did a speech and she's telling people, "Oh yeah, Kamal's gonna like give you a 25,000 credit," but they never break it down because number one, that's not the place to do it. But number two, are the people gonna actually look at it and what does it actually mean? That's what I would like to see from the gaming media, like to actually go those couples. And I don't want them to deep dive. They just like maybe 2-3 steps, man. At least number one for your readers, number two for actual gamers, and they don't. They never do. Right? And in fact, it's to me, it's kind of like I thought it was something that was insidious because maybe they are pro this and that, but I think some of this they're just bad at writing and they're bad at reporting. They're just bad at their jobs. This is why a lot of these places are closing down because you're not benefiting the people that's your target audience. You're not giving people any information that they don't already know, or that you can pull off of YouTube, or that you can listen to my podcast if you come across it. I think I do a little bit more, way well. I'll be honest, a way better job of breaking this stuff down, right? Because at the end of the day, even if you're a fan, you're also a consumer. Where are you going to put your money? Especially now, again, the economy is really bad, and that's what's actually influencing everything. This is why I'm not totally on board with certain things. Like for a lot of the guys I follow, dude, I myself, dude, I'm anti-DEI. I don't like woke. I don't like any of that stuff, right? But at the end of the day, dude, I can't sit here and say that we're actually going through a paradigm shift because I know a lot of it has to do with people not having money. And I'm not saying people aren't waking up and people aren't wanting to change this, which I think they should. But at the end of the day, again, you have to look at the economy as a big factor. Now, people are finding reasons not to buy stuff. I see it every day. Right? I've seen people, like I said in another podcast, I've seen these ladies in my office. They're talking about how expensive everything is, and you're like, it'd be a good thing. We should try fasting, and they're fasting right now. They're and they broke it down. They did all the research on it. They're like, okay, because of my age and my weight and I have to do. Oh my gosh, I have to fast for 24 hours. And then one lady, she's skinny. She's like, oh, I just have to do it for 8. Now everybody hates her, right? You know what I'm saying, right? Sorry, I didn't mean a roundabout way, but to answer your question, I just think they're looking at things differently, and I think they have to look at things differently because of everything that's going on. Like I'm pretty sure there's some things that they were not expecting to happen. A lot of industries were caught off guard. That's why a lot of people are getting laid off, and companies are closing. So it's unfortunate, dude. This economy has ravaged everybody. But does the media cover it on that level? No, then they should. I think the media does a disservice, whether it's the mainstream media or the gaming media, who's a part of the mainstream media. But yeah, I just think they're going in a different direction because it fits and it could fit their agenda, could fit their stats, could fit their, bottom line. But I just base it on action more than I do like what they're actually doing, what Microsoft's actually doing. This is why somebody like myself or Dale, when she was on the podcast, were upset with Phil because, I felt like he didn't have to lie. He just should have been honest. Even if I'm pretty sure, like maybe he was caught off guard. At the end of the day, this is why I tell people, look, at the end of the day, just assume everything's going over for your own peace of mind. Right? I don't think everything's going over, but if that bothers you, man, you might have a problem with it, dude. And I have no problem with you having a problem with it. I have a problem with it. Cygnus, they did the same thing with Bethesda on Starfield. They're erasing the metric of sales number by not reporting it. Yeah, but I think I see what you're saying. Maybe I don't think it doesn't serve Microsoft to to be sly about it. I don't think they're being dishonest about it. I think they honestly are looking at it from that perspective. And if you look at what Microsoft does now, like Windows, it's a subscription service now, basically, right? What is it? Microsoft 360. So they've been doing it on the other side with Microsoft proper. They've been doing stuff like this, right? So I don't think it's nothing nefarious. I don't think it's to hide anything. I think it just. But I will say this: it probably does fit their bottom. If it fits their narrative and what they're looking at, and it helps, and it fits their bottom line. Like I saw some people online was saying, "Oh, that's something that they tell the stock people." And I'm pretty sure the stock people are in tune with that because Microsoft's been doing it with their other stuff, of their other services. So that doesn't catch these guys off by surprise. In fact, it's probably more digestible for them. Now, whether that's shady or not, whether this works or not, I think personally it will. This isn't Microsoft's first rodeo. I see what you're saying, though, but I mean, if you're an Xbox guy and that stuff bothers you, then this is why a lot of not a lot, but quite a few of the guys that was pro Xbox left because of stuff like this, which I don't understand. Right? At the end of the day, how does it affect you, your console, and the games you play? That's why I say a lot of people don't play games. That's the conclusion I've come to just by seeing what people do and their actions and the way that they talk and stuff that they post. The fact that they post all the time, right? I could be held accountable to that as well. I'm almost 2 hours on this podcast. That's 2 hours. I could have prestiged. Let's not get too carried away. I probably would have got up to 50. Because in some of those matches I was playing yesterday, man, these people was just taking me to school. Dude, it just made me feel older and older. But it's fun. It's a fun game. That's what keeps me in tune with this. I don't care how many times I die. I'm having a good time. It feels like classic COD with a hint, just a dash of modern, which is all I need. And then sometimes I do some pretty cool stuff. I'll go on some runs, and that's all. I don't ask for much. Then I'm all down with that. All right. So, but I don't read more to it than what it is because it doesn't behoove Microsoft to be sneaky. Right? I mean, you saw what happened to them with the FTC, dude. They have to dot their I's and cross their T's, and I really think they look at the metrics, dude. They're a bunch of geeks over Microsoft, dude. Like for comparison's sake, Apple, they're geeky, but they're more nerdy side. Microsoft is 100% unadulterated geeky to the core, man. So I'm talking they created Excel. I was having to work with Excel, dude. I haven't worked with that in so long, dude. There's some stuff that they changed, man. I'm gonna have to go take a class because I'm running reports and stuff like that, dude. And they want Excel, and I haven't had to do that for what is it, 10 years, dude. My other job, this place that I'm working at, dude. I mean, they about those figures and stuff. So I can relate to what Microsoft is doing with that stuff, and I like it, dude. I mean, there's a great line in. There's a great line in my favorite. I want to pull it up for you guys, dude. I love this line. See, I'm getting carried away now that I can share screen. Let me. What's the name of that Pacific Rim? Yeah, see, it's right here. Again, bear with me, guys, dude. See, if I had the production on lock, dude, I could make this like perfect. Hold on. Is this the one? Let's try this one, dude. Let's try this one. Shut off my boy here. Let's do this one real quick. Okay, this is gonna be a quick version. I wish I could have found a better video, but I'm just doing what I need to do. Yeah, I'm gonna hide you real quick, brother. Let me present, share screen. Come on, give it to me, dude. Okay, we ready? Let me go full.
Numbers do not lie. Politics and poetry, promises, these are lies. Numbers are as close as we get to the handwriting of God. Numbers do not.
I love this scene, dude. It's one of I love this movie, by the way, dude. Pacific Rim. It totally caught me off guard. It blew me away again. It's our boy. What's his name? The director, man. gosh, dude, the dude from the Mexican dude, man. That dude is Guillermo del Toro, man. That dude. I remember when I went to the theater to watch this, and look, dude, it's science fiction. Guillermo del Toro is attached to it, dude. I love Pan's Labyrinth. A lot of the movies he makes. He did the first Hellboy, second Hellboy. Dude, and he just has a vision that I enjoy, man. And the way he presents it, he has a vision of things and how he wants to create and make his movies. But then when he puts it out there for consumption, dude, he's untouchable in my opinion. So this is like one of my favorite scenes that Pacific Rim. And there's some great one-liners in there, dude. This is why another reason why I like Pacific Rim. It reminds me of a time when we grew up watching movies where you just be quoting some of the lines, right? Because it had such an impact. Right? And they do it today too, mostly in Korean dramas that I watch. But this is like one of my favorite scenes of Pacific Rim, dude. I love that. How he talks about how people lie, poetry, all the promises, and then he breaks it down. Numbers don't lie. They can be manipulated, though. Okay, I'll say that they can be manipulated, so be wary. But when he says it's the closest we get to the handwriting of God, which I 100% agree with. But yeah, sorry. Back to your point, Cygnus. Yeah, I don't. It is what it is. I don't think any more or any less of it than what it is, until I see otherwise. Because I look at this stuff too, because I'm an Xbox guy. Again, this is why I feel like other people who talk to me about Xbox, I'm sorry, I can't take you seriously. I don't think you participate in the ecosystem or subscribe to any of their services or actually own the box. That's an important thing for me. If you're gonna give me your opinion, everybody can have an opinion. You can even come on here and give your opinion. I have no problem with doing that at all. But at the end of the day, if you want me to put any credence on your opinion or actually change my opinion for yours, you gotta come with it, dude. And a lot of people can't do it. Again, the people that can are in a circle of people I already hang out with. That's why I do listen to their opinions and I listen to what they have to say, even if we disagree. As you guys know, man, Unlimited and E-Rock are big DC fans, dude, and I'm a big Marvel fan. And we have our opinions, but I try and listen to what they're saying. Because at the end of the day, we all like comic books, or we all grew up reading and collecting comic books, right? We're at that level. So it is what it is. So how many hours are we doing this, dude? Oh man, 4 minutes. Okay, 4 minutes, guys. If you guys don't have anything else you're gonna say, I'm gonna wrap it up. As Unlimited says, my wrap ups is half an hour, so I'm gonna start it now. As I ramble on. But yeah, so I hope if you guys like this kind of stuff, man, please join me. I know that Zobi wants to do this kind of stuff. I'm gonna have to find a way to be more consistent with him being on the show. Google Poll as well. I sent them links, but look, it's Saturday morning for me. It's probably late afternoon for them or early evening, and we all got stuff to do, man. I appreciate everybody that comes on the podcast. Thank you for the chat, man. I have all you guys in chat. That was really fun. I like doing these, man, when we talk about chats. But this title will probably take the place. I'll probably call it All in Pop Culture and Politics instead of All in Pop. I just wanted to introduce the podcast. You kind of got a taste of what I'm going to talk about. I wish I would have done it earlier. I was debating whether to do it earlier, and I should have, because the election is upon us already, and it's been going. I know a lot of people are just sick about it. They just wanted to go. They voted. Most people voted that wanted to vote, and they just want this to go away, regardless of who wins. Right? This has been a 24/7 grind. Again, we live in a 24/7 news cycle, and I think that's the, please disconnect, dude. We talk about this on our channels when it comes to gaming. Sometimes you just gotta disconnect, or disconnect from social media and just enjoy your games, or just get out and do stuff. Right, that's what I like to do. Sometimes I'll go, like I gotta cut this hedges in front of my house. I'll probably do that because I can't play COD like I used to. I can't sit there for hours on end and play the game. I try to, and my legs get tingly, and I gotta walk around. So, that's another thing about getting old. I don't got it like that anymore. And that's the reality of it. But just game or just disconnect, man. You have to do that from time to time. This is why you have so many people losing their mind, dude. The level of Trump derangement syndrome that people have. Like, I can listen to a person and how they talk about Trump, and I'm listening to it because you can't tell me anything about Trump I don't know already. I'm just being honest. And then, of course, with my own filter in place, right? But what I'm doing when you're talking to me is I'm kind of looking at you, which I tend to do. That's just me. I'm not trying to judge people, but how you react to certain things and how you talk about certain things I run that through my filter as well. So and there's just too many people that are just too jacked in. If they would just disconnect for a while, like get away from the news and get away from the media, they probably wouldn't hate Trump as much, and maybe they could probably get a different perspective of him than what's totally being fed. But if you're jacked in and you're plugged in all the time, dude, you're just getting their perspective. It's just 100% Trump derangement syndrome, 24/7, nonstop, all the time, just boom, 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 boom. Right? I know that firsthand when I watched Fox News. Right? When I watched Fox News, I like Fox News. I'll listen to them, but then there's a point when I came, dude, I started watching other news programs that weren't like Fox News because Fox News wasn't telling me anything I didn't know already. I'm not saying that I agree with them. There's a corporate structure to what they do, but at the end of the day, I wasn't being challenged. You know what I'm saying? There's no sense in staying in your pool, right? Like when I play COD, right? You'd like to be challenged by somebody that just mop the floor, but then you learn from that too, right? I've actually made and this is over the span of playing COD. I've learned how to play COD just by losing, right? Because you see what people do, how you match up with them. Maybe something, I tried to quick scope. I can't quick scope. I'm never a quick scoper. Don't care for it. But what I can do, right, is I can get up in other ways and be more competitive, right? But unless you go through the process, how do you know? So I definitely recommend you step outside your box, right? You try and get out of your comfort zone and get challenged. And then again, and also take the time to unplug from all of this stuff. Dude, I'm telling you, man, I feel sorry for a lot of people. And you know who they are, dude. If you guys know this show, there's a show called The View. And these women on that show, dude, they are, I can't stand them, but now I feel sorry for them, dude, because everything they think about is just 24/7 politics and it's all anti-Trump. And the problem with this is, let me tell you what the problem with this is. Whether you like Trump or you don't like Trump, or you're going to vote for Kamala and not vote for Trump, I don't care. I just try to just give you perspective, guys. The problem with that is if you constantly like that, you end up, sorry, that this car passed. What happens a lot of times with this kind of stuff is you start projecting yourself on other people, and you see it all the time. This is where you see a lot of this stuff when there's coverage, like a politician will stand out there and put himself out there and say stuff and about like maybe an opponent and stuff like that. Then a news story breaks where he's actually that person. Right? It's amazing to watch, dude. The aspects of human nature. This is one of the reasons why I'm politically charged as well. I like watching this kind of stuff to learn, to see, right? Because again, the mechanizations, right? It's called projecting, is what it is. And that's why these people who talk about other people, this is why my grandma taught me when I was young, they never talk about other people. Worry about yourself, don't worry about other people, worry about yourself. That's the way I was raised. And that's served me well, man. I mean, I don't say I make mistakes and stuff like that, but it always brings me back, to that realization. And you see that played out in full force now. Again, especially if you're jacked in all the time, dude. And one of the dangers of that is that you lose sight of reason and you lose sight of common sense. Those two things. Because when you operate like that, there's no room for common sense or reason, right? Because that's the anti that's like the anti-drug to a projection, right? Because you got to challenge yourself, dude. And that's why a lot of times you watch these guys and they get challenged, and when they can't answer or can't respond, they get mad, and that's how you know. That's step number one. Everybody loses their temper, right, from time to time, dude. But when they just go in hard and start, and it's usually a certain type of way, right? Like example, dude, if you're black and you're on the conservative side, and then you're arguing with a liberal, and they're mad because you're supposed to be on the liberal side and you're not because you think for yourself, and you might not be a conservative. You're just a person of color that just thinks, no, dude, I don't like paying taxes, and then you see it online, dude, or you see it where they slip up, right, because their true color come off. And then there's a little bit of a racial epithet assigned to you. The amount of times I've been called pineapple and coconut, which I find hilarious, dude. I've told one person, I was like, what is this, like kindergarten? Right? And it's ironic, man, because there's certain words we all know, right, that are worse than others when it comes to racism and stuff like that. I find the stuff that people call me funny. There's one guy that said something to me. I thought I was just impressed he knew that much about my culture. Right? I'll be honest with you. I was sitting there listening to him. I was like, oh, that was pretty impressive, dude. And that made him more pissed. Right. I mean, he couldn't do nothing to me because I'm way bigger than him. But and sometimes they lose their mind too, right? They talk. Look, dude, I'm not the smallest guy in the world. I'm not the biggest, but I'm not the smallest. Some of these dudes you be talking to, man, they up in your face and respect. At least he was like face to face with me, but I'm like, bro, don't. You know what I mean? But sometimes they lose themselves and they step, and then that happens, right? And I'm not condoning that kind of stuff, especially in this generation of stuff, man, you never know what's going to go down. Oh, I'm sorry, Kavari, bro. I'm not ignoring you, brother. I was just kind of rambling on and I lost track. Kavari says, everyone knows who Trump is, and that's exactly why he's going to lose. Oh, well, we'll see, bro. I honestly, if I'll give you my honest opinion, Kavari, since we're talking, I think he's won. The problem is has he won enough to beat the cheat? Because I honestly think the people on your side cheated in 2020 for various reasons, and it's not just Democrat versus Republican. Man, there's a lot of power and money that Trump switched around. You know, when he went into office in 2016, dude, he actually did what he said he was going to do, and that pissed people off. That pissed a lot of people off, right? And that's why the machine was in full effect for 2020, and Dave was doing everything in their power. That's another thing to look at, guys. You know, who's the guy getting shot at? Who's the guy that's always in somebody's mouth, man? You know, food for thought. I'm not saying you gotta agree with them or come along to this side, but do yourself a favor, be a little bit more open-minded. I think, and I play on your words. I think everybody knows who he is, and they're fine with it, and they're voting for him, and they're gonna vote for him. But I expect some fishy business. There's fishy business going on right now. But at least the people who support him know him, dude. I mean, and I can speak to this specifically, Kavari, because on my side, dude, I am a Christian. I'm a conservative, and I am a registered Republican. Notice I put the registered Republican. I'm a traditional conservative as well. I got to be like liberals now. When I talk to a liberal, it's like, oh, no, I'm not like them. I'm a classical liberal, which, if you understand what that means, you know what it means. If you know, you know, right? And I can have conversations with them. Some of my best friends are liberals who are on the classical side. So now I have to do it on my side because on the Trump side, it's the MAGA, right? It's MAGA. It's all MAGA, right? And so MAGA, right? That's why I say I'm not MAGA, in the sense of it's not a people, it's a movement, right? And I occupy a space in that movement, which is set aside from other. This dude, you have Tulsi Gabbard, you have Robert Kennedy Jr., you have Tucker Carlson, you have that dude Vivek Ramaswamy, his Vice President JD Vance. JD Vance went on a tirade against Trump, and now he's his vice president. Did you have this amalgamation of all these people that should not get along? I mean, Tulsi Gabbard, she's from Hawaii, and she represented Hawaii, but I never liked her politics, especially since she was on the Democratic side. Ironically, her dad was one of the few Republicans in the state of Hawaii. You know, talk about mind blowing, right? And then even when she looked at it, she actually joined the Republican Party, but that's not the Republican Party of your dad, is what I'm saying. Right? So that's why I can say this now, because I'm of that generation. I'm a Reagan Republican. Okay, this is why I'm a Republican. And I'm like the Alex P. Keaton, right? I'm that dude. Which is oddly enough the reason Alex P. Keaton, why Michael J. Fox had that character. And they created him was to make him a caricature of Republicans, and it actually made him one of the most popular characters. This is something that strikes me as odd. Is the people on the left or people who are liberal, they think they have a latch on popular culture and they understand popular culture, and they have no clue, because they do stuff like this all the time. They create these straw men and look at Archie Bunker. Perfect case in point, Archie Bunker. Plenty of people, you know, he's supposed to be a caricature of what a Nixon. You know, just watch the show. Right? He reminds me a lot of my dad, if I'm being honest. But he becomes, the show blows up, it becomes popular, right? And then even to this day, dude, people who are utilizing pop culture in the battle, which I'm not. It blows my mind. I think it's bad that we're that engaged in pop culture, that to the point where we're using it in politics. That's my personal opinion, because I think that's because I like to separate stuff like that. Dude, when I participate in pop culture, that's just for me to participate. In fact, I do that. I talk about it on the channel. I do that to get away from the politics and the real world and jobs and stuff like that. So I don't really like it in my entertainment. This is why I can't watch certain shows or support certain things. It takes me out of whatever I'm trying to enjoy. But I mean, the big tent right now is on the Republican side, and they're holding it together right now. But man, it'll be interesting to see if Trump wins. And then I'm going to be sitting back watching this, being the person that I am, and just seeing how it all kind of plays out, because there is a lot of discrepancies within the MAGA movement. I'm not discrepancies. There's a lot of differences with the people in the MAGA movement, right? And I've seen that firsthand, right? And you can tell too, because President Trump was talking was he's done several ads to reach out to the Christian community, right? And if you guys haven't known what's going on with the Christian community, man, I mean, my mind's been blown. I've gone back into it hardcore just for the simple fact that I never thought there'd be a time where Baptists would be saying certain things that they're saying now. I mean, it's absolutely ungodly. So I'm dealing with that all of this stuff that's coming out because of signs and wonders and miracles and prophecy. Stuff like this is happening right now. So I'm kind of drug into that. If you guys haven't noticed this, dude, if you guys don't follow Christians, I recommend you do. If you want to get a full thing about what Christians are thinking right now, people is kingdom ready, brother. People who are Christian are kingdom ready, dude. They are waiting the second coming of Jesus Christ. The people that Donald Trump is trying to reach out to, right? And if you're gonna come into the party and try and appease everybody within the party, is what he's trying to do, and he's good at it. Don't get me wrong, he's great at it. This is how he's able to build the following that he has. He doesn't need like the entire black vote or Hispanic vote or even Asian Pacific Islander vote, or he doesn't need this. He's taking pieces of every single thing and building, like Microsoft is doing with the video games. Right? We're gonna be here, do this, do that, do this. They don't need 100%. They'll take it. Don't get me wrong, they'll take it, but they'll take 20 here. They'll take a 17 here. They'll take a 45 over there. That's what they're doing. That's how he's building it. But when you do that, you build this big tent. There's all kind of problems that come with that, right? So just watching him, that one of the things I love about what Trump is doing, it's entertaining to me. I know a lot of some of you guys who hate Trump will be like, "Oh, you're stupid." Oh, sorry. That's our neighbors because we don't enforce the laws here. They do this all the time. Which, if their house blew up, I'll be honest with you, because that is they keep fire. This happened to a couple houses. I'm not wishing that on them. I'm just saying, man. I just hope my house don't get caught in a fire. Right? But anyway, but I've been sitting back watching him, trying to keep this thing together, you know. And it's and I'll say this, dude. They've been on point with the messaging. They have the right people with the talking points, and then people are ultra focused because at the end of the day, much like everything that's going on with gaming, I don't care how good a game is. Okay, let me try and rephrase this. You can have the best game that you're putting out there. You have all these great indie titles, Plucky Squire, all these things that in any other time in gaming, if money was good, if the economy was great, if people had disposable income, these games would be selling more. And what a lot of these people are realizing, all the other crap aside, all the console war crap aside, is they're realizing that nobody's not buying games, so they're asking themselves why. And they haven't come to the full realization is because they're in a bad economy. Because a lot of people need to be told that. And the media, which is very slanted towards liberals, most of them are liberal, most of them are Democrats. Well, I'll say not liberal, I'll say leftist. A lot of liberals are leaving the party, and again, they're coming over to this side because I have to deal with them. So a lot of them are doing that, and it doesn't. Like, dude, it's not going to help your bottom line. If I'm being honest. But sorry, Kavari. I'll catch up. I'm so sorry. I'm rambling a lot. Kavari, it's crazy how Trump and his family hijacked the Republican Party. MAGA going to have a hard time dealing with the results of the election when they lose. Number one, I don't think they're going to lose. I think if anything, they'll steal it. I'll say that. But yeah, that's like, look, dude. If something like that happened, anybody would have a hard time, dude. The left, look at what happened to the left when they lost. And then to its point, dude, in 2020, dude, is fails in comparison to what 2016 was. Man, liberals was slit their throat, slit their wrists and stuff like that. It was ridiculous, dude. You know why? Again, it goes back to they just plugged in too much, man. Just detract yourself, dude. Try and have an open mind, and you won't be dealing with that. Because whether Trump wins or loses, dude, I'm still going to be sitting here looking at stuff the way that I look at it. I'm not going to be happy about it in the sense that I think he's the better choice. A lot of us are going to suffer, right? Because the economy is going to get worse. To the point where a lot of you guys who are like how you're talking to me, Kavari. I don't know if you live in the U.S. or where you at and stuff like that. That's not a slight. I'm just saying, dude, maybe you have it like that. But a lot of people don't, dude. And there's going to be a lot of pain for people. Because there's pain now. It's just that the media refuses to cover it. This is why you have a lot of people going on social media. This is why you have people in Chicago threatening the city council. They're going to turn that place red. Now, how big that impact is, I don't know. Right? Because Chicago is a big city. There's a lot of things in play there as well. Just like we have Trump trains here on the islands. Okay? But again, this island is a super blue state. It's like deep blue. but it does go for the bigger picture for a lot of people. So, because at the end of the day, it's those swing states, right, that it matters. Yeah. They didn't hijack it, Kavari. They went to war and they won the Republican Party. Because prior to MAGA, there was the Tea Party, where people was fed up, and a lot of Republicans like myself was fed up with the Republican Party. I still am a Republican registered because I believe in a two-party system. Like the way I believe in right and wrong, left and right, stuff like that. Right? It's the duality of it, the balance, right? But yeah, I mean, it was even before him with the Tea Party was the big thing, right? And then after that, he came in and he got involved, and that's when MAGA started. But it was more, it was a group of people, but it's grown so much more. That's why I don't see him losing on Friday. I'm pretty confident he's gonna win. Could be wrong. Dude. Trust me. And trust me, I'm not gonna be over here crying. Dude, I'll be doing these podcasts and we'll break it down for whatever reasons. I don't know. Some people can come in here and gloat how they want to, dude. I'm fine with that too because it for me this is more deeper than that. It's just not about my guy winning, your guy losing, or your gal losing, my guy winning, or your gal winning and my guy losing. It's beyond that for me. You know, there's real world ramifications going on, which again, if you're supporting her and it goes the way that it's going to go, a lot of you guys have to deal with that, right? And it's going to affect you directly. Like a lot of these young kids that are voting for it have been voting Democrat. Man, you might run the real risk of going to war. They've already passed the legislation to institute the draft if things go south. It's already in place. They've also passed legislation for military to take an active stance against civilians in this country. I don't hear the left talking about that anymore. Well, I see liberals talking about it because that goes a lot of the stuff. The Democratic Party goes totally against the liberal talking points for years, or the liberal belief system. Kavari, your side is nothing but leftist, dude. and I'll never get on board with that, dude. I have a hard time dealing with liberals, let alone. Dude, you can miss me all the left craziness on your side of the aisle. Kavari, and for the folks who voted for Trump who crossed the border to come to America for a better life, I hope he deports them. He said he would. And I think he should. Because you shouldn't be voting at all. You shouldn't be here. But I agree with you, Kavari. There are people that are coming here and they will vote for him. That's something I think, not all of them, but there's like I can tell you a lot of those people from China. Right, because they're living under communism right now. You know, they're living under one party rule, under a president who fancies himself an empire or an emperor, and he doesn't look at China as a free country. He looks at it as his dynasty. So, and they suffered, and they're suffering now, dude. You can go do the videos, dude. China Uncensored and China. I can't. You know what? I might play a video for you guys out there, but and look, dude, it's not everywhere and stuff like that, but it's like the have and have-nots, right? It's interesting to see China and the metamorphosis, and just these last couple of years, man, they were on point to surpass us at some point in time. But then Trump got in office and he shut that down real quick. Right? He's like, no, tariff. Yeah, and then some people be like, and that's why people can't stand him, dude, because some of these companies, man, that kind of try to rise up on him, dude. Yeah, well, we're gonna do this, and he's like, yeah, you do that, 100% tax your stuff. He weaponized that bad boy, and he shot them all down. That's when they started bringing the stuff back. Then they cheated in 2020, and they brought this knucklehead in, and he just reversed everything, except for some things that Trump did, which is ironic because people want me to give Biden credit for that. I was like, I'll give him credit. Like I said earlier, I'll give him credit for not taking it off, but it was Trump that installed those stuff. The decoupling thing was probably the biggest thing. This is why China's economy hasn't recovered. And if you notice, like if you buy a lot of stuff online, they don't really show that it's from China, right? You got to kind of like do a 1-2 step thing. Some do, but most people don't. And then if you notice some of the stuff you're buying online now, you look at the tag. Some of it's being made in Vietnam. I just got a shirt and I had no idea that it came from Taiwan. I thought it was made here locally in the U.S. But nope, they outsourced to Taiwan. It's an okay shirt. I mean, that's the geopolitical aspects. That's the geoeconomical issues, man. If you aren't keeping up with what's going on, they have the BRICS going on, or they have BRICS going on, If you didn't know, that's like the 5 member nations, and they're incorporating more people. And their main objective is to get off the government teat, which is the U.S. dollar. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, I'm a hard line with that, Kavari. Not trying to be a wise, trying to be a punk or prick or anything. But I do believe that. I think borders should be respected. And that's every country, not just ours. Right? Like, there's a lot of stuff going on in other countries. Like, there's this one influencer going around causing trouble in South Korea. He's causing trouble in Japan, acting a fool. I don't like that kind of stuff because if I ever go to those countries, it leaves a bad taste in the locals' mouth. Same thing like they did with Hawaii. What happens here when somebody comes in and acts stupid? But yeah, dude. I mean, every country should be able to be who they are, and I think it's better geopolitically. I think it's better. Like Japan should make themselves great again, or Korea, South Korea be great again. Put them Korea first, Japan first, because at least on that level, we know how to deal with each other. I prefer that, right? And then speak about it. Like right now, Japan is thinking about redoing their entire alliance with U.S. in the sense of they don't want to pay as much for the defense that they pay, and they want us to make our footprint smaller because there's people in their government right now, and I believe they're on the liberals, they're leftists, and so they're like, yeah, the reason we're getting attacked is because America's presence in Japan. Some of it is kind of true with that aspect, but if we're being honest, dude, look, there's a lot of countries that hate Japan because of the war. World War II. So if they think that people are going to, and they have not forgiven Japan for that, or not forgotten, which is really the bad part, right? And if they decide to go without the U.S., I'm of the ilk that I think they should work towards becoming their own power, as opposed to relying on us so much. Because in their case, like when they rely on us so much, then you have an election and everything gets turned upside down. Like they're kind of in flux because of the way our politics are in flux. There was a time, like somebody shared this really great map, which shows the decades from 1980 to now and what the country looked like. And you can just see by the way the country voted that there was stability. There's a reason why it was stable. Whether you agreed or not, or other countries agreed or not, they knew where America stood. And nowadays, nobody knows. This is why like certain things haven't popped up, I feel, because nobody knows who's going to win. Because there's a big difference between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. Their policies, economic policy, foreign policy, all of that stuff. So everybody's just kind of hedging their bets. And then once the election's over, I mean, I'm at a point where I just hope he makes it to the election. Dude, that income tax thing was a big. I mean, I for one is like I was like, damn, that's amazing that you can do that. I would love to see him implement it. Again, I thought a flat tax. I thought that's what he's going to say next. Actually, I didn't think he was going to do the income tax. If anything, if he's going to do something like that, I thought he was going to say flat tax. Plus, the people that surround him would say that too. But I guess, well, then again, the people that surround him are different, right? I mean, dude, Elon Musk put out a tweet that he would be interested in Ron Paul being in the because here's the scuttlebutt, right? Like Trump and Elon has kind of talked around this, but not said it directly. But Trump, he becomes the president, he wants to put Elon in charge of fraud, waste, and abuse. You saw what he did with Twitter. And then yesterday it was, I think yesterday, the day before, Elon just put a random tweet out there. That's why I love X. Put a random tweet out there, and he said, "Hey, it'd be great if Ron Paul was on this staff." And Ron Paul, I think, like maybe 6 hours later, he already responded because that's like an early Christmas gift for Ron Paul. Dude, he hates the Fed, dude. He wants to dissolve the Fed. he's all on board, dude. So you have those two guys working together. It's a whole new world, dude. It's a whole new world, not just for our country, but for all of our allies and our enemies. That'll have ramifications. Like, how are we going to pay for our budget? Like, all that stuff, dude. I'm just not saying this stuff because it's like a pro-Trump thing. There's actual, like, nitty-gritty stuff, dude, that they're going to have to hammer out to make this thing happen. That's why, for me, like I'm saying, I would have thought he went flat tax, lower the rate to, like, a really low rate, and then work on and do it by a minutia rate. But then again, he knows he only has 4 years, man. He only has 4 years, so I don't know, dude. We'll see what happens, dude. Like, one of the reasons I want him to win too is I want to see him hit the ground and see what he does, and just sit back and enjoy the show. I mean, and there's gonna be pain, dude. There's gonna be pain no matter what happens, guys. There's gonna be pain, but some pain is gonna be better. Or for me, again, I'm kind of biased in that sense because I have kids, and this affects my kids' futures. If you have kids, it'll affect yours as well. So, yeah. So yeah, I 100%. regardless of your pro whatever, if you're not here legally, you should be. You should go back. And then they should. And when people talk to me about border reform, I'm all for that. But I'm for border reform as far as the people who are already raiding the line. And I am one of those people. I get called a racist for this all the time. I don't care. I am one of those people that I think we should pick and choose who we let in. Like who's going to come in to make our country better. Other countries do that as well, and we should do that. As well as and I don't have a problem with this because some of the most knowledgeable people about U.S. history and politics and stuff like that are people that come here to become U.S. citizens because the process is so long. And then as far as I remember, with my kid's grandmother technically is a Japanese citizen, so when she became an American citizen, she had to study really hard for the test. So she knows a lot of things about our process that most Americans don't learn, which I think is sad. But that's what I think of when I talk about border reform. I want complete overhaul in light of those things. Because when other people talk about reform, no offense, Kavari, it's usually the people on your side. They talk about like just opening the border, let everybody in. You know, I'm like, no, that's not how it works. Then you won't have a country anymore. That makes no sense. Kavari says, crazy how Trump, former White House staff won't support him, not even his former vice president. Yeah, and that was a big rift, right? I'm not gonna lie, I lost respect for Vice President Mike Pence. Still think he's a good Christian man. I support him as my Christian brother. I'll break bread with him anytime he wants to. We can sit there and discuss things. I think he has great insight and opinions. But when it comes to this, I'll never vote for him. And I tell him that straight up because he had aspirations of running for president. Dude, I responded to him on the thing. I was like, I don't know if he reads it. It's probably his team, but I'm like, I'll never vote for you because of what you did. And that blew my mind because he is a Christian man. He's a godly man. I have no doubt about that. And the way he was attacked as well from people. Some people said he has something on him. I don't know. Dude. He can't really fake the funk like that. Maybe some stuff might come out on him later on, but we're all human and stuff like that. But I have no problem with him as a brother in Christ, man. But as a person to vote for, nope, nada. He showed me his mettle when that happened, dude, and he didn't stay the course like he should have. And to all the former, this is why if you look at who the people we have around him now, that's because that hurt him. That hurt him in 2016 because he's not a politician. A lot of these people are more involved in politics. They're great in some aspects of it, but when he wanted to implement certain things, right, of course, them being more political, that's where you see the divide with a lot of those people and why a lot of people were off and on, right? Because he wanted to do something outside of the streams, man. This is not some of the stuff he talked about, dude. Like they fought him on this stuff that I thought that made sense, right? And a lot of egos, man. I mean, there's no bigger ego than what Trump has, and then you have a lot of people around him that really can't stand him that are just as egotistical, right? Like one of the guys I still respect him on his knowledge base and his understanding of geopolitical stuff, but as far as everything else, man, he showed me his true colors, dude, and that's John Bolton, right? Like I consider myself a war hawk. That dude is just he's just a war fiend. I'm like, bro, come on, man, you know better than that. Yeah, so that's the one thing about Trump, though, Kavari. Pay attention to it, dude. He is like, you know what he's like, dude? He's like, what do you call that stuff? He's like Clorox, dude. Yeah, like a disinfectant, bro. Like, just don't look at him and what he does. Look at why and the reasons why and the people that support him and the people that don't support him. There is a thread of similarities in both of those groups, right? And it matches to the point of where he is now. It's just like watching The Apprentice. You're fired, you know. That's how he aligns himself. But when it comes to politics, bro, this was crazy. Because there's a lot of people I respected, man, that got TDS. And their careers are over, dude. This dude has a track record of ending people. Trump. Everybody who steps to this dude gets ended. And one of the reasons why, especially when it comes to politics, dude, he is who he is. He makes no excuses. You either love him or hate him, and this is what he has to. And this can be considered a weakness. He has to deal with when he's trying to ask people to vote for him, dude. And this is why, for some people that sit there and like, man, but his policies make sense. I mean, he has us on the right track. Gas was cheap. My food was affordable. I was making money. I had movement, man. I had growth. I could do what I wanted, go where I wanted to do, man. I wasn't limited. But every time he opens his mouth, I totally understand, dude. That's one of his things. But I mean, for me, like Ann Coulter, I love Ann Coulter, by the way. Even if I don't agree with her all the time, but I still love just her insight on stuff and the perspective she gives. But she was talking about that now with Trump, man. She was one of the biggest Trump. She called it. She's the first person I ever saw that called that Trump would win in 2016. Everybody made fun of her, laughed at her. You know, people on the right side thought she was nuts and disassociated herself, but she was 100% right. But she was so hardcore Trump. But when he didn't fulfill his promises the way that she wanted him to fulfill it, and then he said something derogatory towards her, and you know they had that fallout. Well, there wasn't really a fallout, but ever since then, dude, she's never really, and it's unfortunate, man, because I think she would have been a great asset to him because the thing she was telling him he needed to do right away. But the people that were surrounding him and being in Washington, being in that swamp, because people say swamp, but it's like it's on that level that nobody really understands, and you saw that with him the first 4 years. They're doing everything in his power to block him, dude. This is where the whole deep state stuff came up. And so anyway, they you know she supports him now in a way, but not really. And she made a comment, and I said, "Look, dude, he's the president we deserve, right? Because you know the people need to take responsibility for the state of the country as well, right? You know, some people don't pay attention. Hopefully, this will show you that you need to. I know it'd be great if you didn't have to. I don't want to pay attention as much to this stuff as I do now. I don't want to have conversations with people like I have to have because of politics, dude. I mean, who wants to do that? Nobody does, right? But at the end of the day, man, because people are not paying attention, they don't do their due diligence. They don't understand how our politics actually work. They don't understand why we're in Ukraine. Why they don't understand the difference between being in Ukraine, being in Taiwan, and being in Israel, or supporting Israel. Like they know none of this stuff, right? And it shows, man. Our country has been in decline for over three decades, right? And it shows. And this is one of the reasons why, dude. It's not just the politics; it's the people. And I said it all the time about gaming, dude. It's not just the big greedy corporations, quote unquote. It's also the people that support them, the gamers that support them, or the gamers that don't support the industry. You know, you see some of the guys on the channel, man. They're very passionate about that because at the end of the day, people are not supporting the industry. And if it's something you love, you have to support it. Same thing with this country, man. You love this country, you got to support it. And you support it by being informed. You support it by, like John F. Kennedy said, man. Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you do for your country. Now, in this generation that we live in, how selfish everybody is, how entitled everybody feels. Me, I. It's all about me, right? You think it's ironic, right? It's ironic that you got this president. It's ironic. I think it's absolutely what we deserve, whether you agree with him or not. It is a sign of the times. It is the wait, hold on. I just basically that's how you say. Kavari, I'm Christian, and Trump reminds me of false prophets the Bible warned us about. Anyone voting for a man sell God's words is pure evil. Well, that's everybody, Kavari. If you believe this, then you can't vote for anybody because they all do it. And some of them are true believers, bro. You can tell, bro. If you're a Christian, right, the Spirit will tell you. The Holy Spirit. They'll give you pray for discernment, right? Pray for the Holy Spirit. That is our companion. That is who Jesus left us to help us navigate this sinful, evil, and ill-begotten world. Right? It is the Holy Spirit. You rely on the Holy Spirit, you won't have these problems. But to my point, I'm glad you said this because to what I was just saying, right? He is the president that we deserve. Because all of this stuff right here, we've done this for generations. Right? We've done this for, and more so in the modern times, for 3 decades. We've built this. We built this society. We built it. It's you reap what you sow. It's that basic. You reap what you sow. And for this, where you said like false prophets, dude, how many? I don't look at him as a false prophet, but I don't have a problem with him because I don't think he's a Christian. And he even said that in one of his interviews. And people were like, "Oh, you better be." Like some people were worried. He's like, "Oh, don't say that. Don't say that." Any true Christian knows this. Just because you say a prayer, or you bow your head when somebody's praying, right? Or you carry a Bible, right? There's more to being a Christian than you should know this too, Kavari, right? We know this, right? This is why when he said like that, well, for Christians, he separated it himself and he said himself he's not. And I was fine with it. I was fine with it because I know that already about him. He's not a Republican. I know that about him too. The level of gaslighting people have, man, it just again, it doesn't tell me anything about him because I know him. It tells me everything about you, not you, Kavari, personally, but these people that say stuff like that I saw the reactions from. It totally blew my mind that a lot of these people thought he was a Christian. It blew my mind when they thought he was a Republican and he ran for it, and he ran as a Republican. He's not, dude. If anything else, he's very he has I don't know. I'd say he's more libertarian than anything else. If I could stick him someplace, but he's not a conservative. Because what you see that he's doing is just a natural progression of just a person that gets older, right? He's old school, right? He's in his 80s, right? 70s, 80s. So he's still from the past, right? So normally people who are growing up in his generation, right, they have a natural progression. You usually start off a certain way. He's always loved the country. That's shown. America as America is, as America should be. Right? He's always loved that about America. But as he's in the beginning, dude, he's very liberal in a lot of his stuff. That's why you see pictures with him and Oprah and Jesse Jackson and all these people, right? Because he's a very liberal leaning. He was very liberal on his policies. But just like anybody else, man, for a lot of people, the natural progression is when you're younger, you're liberal. As you get older and more stuff is thrown upon you, more responsibilities, you have family, stuff like that, you tend to go to the more conservative side. Where I think the problem is when people look at liberal versus conservative, they do it in the dichotomy of what politics is now as opposed to what it was back then. This is where people say classical liberal and I'll say traditional conservative. Both in and of itself is not bad. It's just two viewpoints that are kind of opposed to each other, right? But in this present day and age, right? So you have him being who he was when he was younger. Because for me, Donald Trump is champagne wishes and caviar dreams. That's how I knew this dude, man. He's like dude. Everybody wanted to be like this dude. Everybody wants to be successful. Everybody wants to be able to have money. You know, this is why a lot of certain people in certain industries looked up to this guy, whether it's business, music, across the board. This dude was like on everybody's ticket. Then he comes out as a Republican, and then he starts having some conservative leanings, quote unquote. Right, which I just think it's common sense. It's not even. It's just common sense stuff, dude. And I can speak to this because I am on that side. This is where I get offended by this. When people tell me that, well, he's a conservative Republican. I tell the people, right? No, he's not. He's not. I am a conservative Republican. He is not that. This is how I blow people up when they try and come at me. I'm like, no, he's not, because I am. And they just freeze because they're like, oh. I'm like, yeah, you don't know. You don't know what that means. Everything you're telling me right now, you have no idea what that actually means. So step. In all due respect, step. Because I don't have the time to explain this all to you. Well, now I can't do it on this podcast. But yeah, I this is why I have no problem, because I understand who he is and I know who he is. People dealing with this right now actually thought he was a Christian. And hopefully he will be one day. Right? That's what we pray for, right, Kavari? As Christians, we want this. We want everybody, regardless of who they are, because we know what the end result of this. If they don't turn to God, we know what's going to happen to them, and that's an eternal punishment, right? So I constantly pray for him, and hopefully he does come around. Now, how that's going to affect him politically, right? Because there's certain things going on in the Big Tent. Right, that's what we want. We want a big tent. We want our outreach, right? Republicans, these rhinos was doing that. That's the irony of it all. All these rhinos been preaching this, man. And it's all about power and influence, right? They just want votes. They just want to establish themselves. They just want to keep their filthy rich paws and everything, right? You know, and some of them might have had like a moment of wanting to do that, but most of them it's all about that, right? But what ended up happening is they got the person they wanted that could bridge that gap, and now they're realizing, oh, we made a mistake. And this is why they never supported him. That's why they came out hard against him. When he ran this time again, the Republican Party, they never really supported him. But what ended up happening is the MAGA movement had grown so much, and that a lot of people registered Republican that were not registered or Democrat. And now they're Republican. The rolls show that it's grown exponentially. So you can't ignore that. Talk about that all the time with Game Pass, right? If Game Pass gets 100 million viewers, it's over. Not just over but like all the problems we have, like for example, Square Enix came around, but a lot of these companies will have to do business with Microsoft if they get that subscription base, and that's what happened to the rhinos and the Republicans in DC, right? They realized, wow, this thing is real, and they knew it was real, but it just grew like, and it's full of people that are not me. That's the problem that Republicans are having right now. Right? And I'm happy they're having that problem. I don't like them either. Right? I am who I am. Right? But I can't stand these dudes either. And to me, it's karma. It's payback. It's judgment day for these punks. Right? Because they do the same thing like every politician. They tell you this stuff, but they never follow through. And people are tired of it. So this is why you see, if you go outside of your bubble, out of your circle, and you look at some of these people, listen to them actually talking. They usually they usually say something like, "I hated him. I never would have thought in 2024 I would have voted for this man." Like these people, like they'll say in 2016, I hated him. I argued. I swore at people. I was one of those people crying when he won. Like, go listen to the as a Christian. We go listen to the testimonies of these people. And in some instances, their eyes are open because some people apologize. They're like, "Look, I'm sorry. I didn't know I was like this." Because you know why? Because it's happening to them now. Because they got kicked out of their circles, and their friends are like, "I can't be friends with you anymore," or some of them lost their jobs. Go do a search, Kavari, just testimonials. Right? We love testimonials, right? Because at the end of the day, that's the realness of it, right? And they found out, and some of them did evils to people, and then they found out a horrible lesson because the evils was turned back on them. Because with I'm just saying on the left side of things, I'm sorry, I don't know if you're left or not. If you want to tell me, and I'm just assuming, so I shouldn't, but I'll just tell you this much, dude. On the other side of the aisle, bro, if you go off that reservation, you're done. Look at Tulsi Gabbard. Look, Tulsi, she's probably one of the most moderate, but you can't be moderate in that side. You have to be left now. It's left or die, right? And you can tell is every time Trump does something as minuscule as it can be, these guys blow it up, which in turn cracks me up because it just gives them more attention. And then a lot of them just can't think straight, and they're just getting caught in their own lies. And I'm telling you, dude, you lie enough, dude, you won't be able to tell the difference. They lie so much they can't tell what's up and down, what's left and right. Dude, some of the stupidness that they say, how they justify stuff now, because at the end of the day, it has nothing to do with what you're discussing. It's all about Trump. They just Trump. That's how, dude, 24/7. Hey, what's up, Daniel? Oh, dude, did you see what happened, man? They got rid of Christy Sides. Welcome to the show, brother. I know when you drop in, I know what I'm going to talk about. I don't know the full effect of that, dude. I don't know much about the new coach. I know she has ties with Indiana. We call her Miss Indiana basketball, right? I mean, she looks like the real deal, dude. Maybe that's what they need. Hopefully, I mean, I understand the situation Christy Sides was in, but I mean, she did make bad calls, dude, when she really needed to. I was trying to give her the benefit of the doubt, but she makes real bad calls. And I think when you look at the WNBA, sorry guys, switch gears real quick. WNBA, man, a lot of people getting fired. The next step I see if I think the WNBA is serious about their success and continuing to grow their league, you see the coaches getting fired, and then some of these players will no longer be in the league because they're old guard and they need to go. They're old guard and they need to go. That's what's going to make the league successful. I would say even go as far as to get rid of that whole front office. But then again, they'd probably put a man in charge, and then everybody will lose their minds, right? And we won't go down that rabbit hole. But yeah, thanks for coming in, Daniel. This is our pop culture and politics podcast. This is more of a political slant. If you know my channel, I do that anyway. But this is making it official because I'm pretty sure people are not happy about my thoughts on Call of Duty Black Ops 6, and then I end up talking about Trump and Kamala or taxes. Great. But welcome, brother. Thanks for being here. Kavari, isn't Trump basically the swamp? He takes money from a lot of shady billionaire families and arms corporation to fund his campaign. You might want to look into that, Kavari. You might want to look into that. I think if you look into that, you'll see who actually gets all that money. All this money that you're talking about right here, who's actually funding, where this money goes. I can tell you this much, right? Since we're Microsoft, 90% of Microsoft employees and the corporation, all of their money goes to 90% goes to Democrats. They give to Republicans, but their corporations tend to they give to both just to be like, oh yeah, we gave to both, so to avoid all to avoid the friendly fire or the enemy fire or the friendly fire. But if you do a deep dive and see who supports who, you'd be surprised. There's a, and this is how I know, like, this is one of the things I like about Trump. When he first started doing his ads for for asking people to donate because he gets hit on this. Surprisingly, the media and people on the left don't hold themselves to account or hold their side to account. It's about Trump again. TDS constantly thinking about Trump. So anyway, he does his first ad that I saw. It's like, hey, if you can send, if you know, $1, $2, $3, $5, $25, every little bit helps. But then and right after that he goes like this, goes, but if you don't have the money, don't send anything. You can see those advertisements that he does that, and he does that. He was doing that from the jump. See, the thing is about Trump, he's a billionaire, but he can't fund his own. You have to get donations. All of these guys have to. When people ask, well, why are these guys asking for money? But if you look at who supports, how Kamala gets her money, who supports her, who's supporting her on the political side and on the government side, this statement will make this. You'll know that this statement is not true. Sure, he has billionaires that support him, but not on the. This is not. It's far. I mean, the biggest thing that probably helped him was Elon Musk. I think if it wasn't for Elon, Elon definitely moved the needle. So he has like several, and there's some people coming on board, but not on that level. Because at the end of the day, look, Elon didn't like Trump either, and Trump said disparaging things about Elon. Again, two egotistical males, two very successful businessmen, right? And what they do. So you know things in the Kavar. Like, just think about it. Like how bad? I mean, if you don't know the history, it is bad. These guys did not like each other at all, right? So how bad has things have to be that these two are actually working together, and that Trump will go so far? Elon has opened up to him. Elon interviewed him, and not too long ago, Elon didn't like Trump. He said he hates Trump. But then again, and the funny thing is, like Trump, this dude is a liberal. So you need to do some soul searching on your own side. I mean, sorry, if you're on the left, Kavari, you guys need to do some serious soul searching because I haven't moved one bit. I'm still on this side. Sure, we lost Liz Cheney, but nobody cares. I actually like Dick Cheney. I actually like Dick Cheney as far as his foreign policy. The problem with Dick Cheney is he loves his daughter, which is, I know that sounds bad me saying that, but he loves her to a fault. He will support the daughter no matter what, even if it goes against the person that he is. And he's getting older. You know, it is what it is. But just saying, right? I'm gladly, like, when people leave here, I'm like, bye. It's like on Xbox, dude. Like somebody dude's left. I'm like, well, don't let the door hit you on the way out. You know what I'm saying? I could care less, dude. You either hang with us or you don't hang with us. Dude, separate the chat from the weak, bro. I mean, if you can't hang, I don't need you back here, dude. I don't need to be facing an enemy or any type of obstacle ahead of me and worried about what you're doing behind me. I don't play that game, dude. Just go. Just do your thing. Go to the other side. I don't care, dude. Don't need you. Yeah, so I don't know where you're getting this from, brother. He got prosecuted because of the swamp. All the stuff he's gone through is because of the swamp. Again, you have to. I encourage you to do research on this and see which big corporations, because they support the Democratic Party. It's party loyalty. And that's what's so dangerous about Joe Biden when they ran him, and more so with Kamala, man, because they don't need them. They just need them as the face, because they have the mechanizations is already in place for them to run everything. Like nobody hears from Joe Biden. He can't, and then nobody wants to hear from him, at least on their side, right? Because every time he comes out, he says something dumb, right? Or I would like to think some people feels like he feels so slighted. That he's doing this stuff on purpose, and I wish that was the case. Just because I remember how Joe Biden used to be. I've been that charged with politics. Joe Biden was a firebrand, dude. Him and Ted Kennedy from back in the day, dude. You go look at old clips of how they were. Totally. This is why, like, you can tell he's old and he has dementia. Again, dude, if you guys don't study this stuff, you won't know, bro. And then you guys just gonna be like that. That's like those things on you just be like. Flags and you just be flowing, going with the flow, dude. You have to research this stuff, dude, if you really want to know. I knew he was dilapidated. Number one, because of his age, but number two, man, he's not the person he used to be. Again, and I remember watching it, dude. I told you I was enamored with Ronald Reagan. Morning in America, the whole night. I watched Family Ties because it was a good show, and I love sitcoms, but I love Alex P. Keaton. He was awesome. So that's what I wanted to be like. And later on, of course, again, like I said, I found out it was a caricature that they were trying to express. But anyway, Go and look at this, dude, and I'm pretty sure you'll come around with a different thing. If you're being open and honest, dude, I'm saying, all of these guys get money. And if this offends you like this, dude, I'm up. More power to you too. Because then let's go deal with it all, dude. Let's get rid of the lobbyists. Let's get rid of the income tax. Let's get rid of these crutches that these people have. This the root of all evil that's infected the government that we suffer from, bro. Let's do it, man. I'm all on board, bro. Come on, Republican, Democrat, Independent, Libertarian. I don't care. Man, this thing needs to be exercised, brother. Let's do it, bro. Let's roll. I get that all the time. It's like, well, what happens if it was Ted Cruz? I'm like, well, then fire him. I don't care. It's not about the party, bro. It's about truth, right? Is that what you know? So if you're all on board for this, bro, I'm all on board. Let's not just put like Trump on the 34 counts. It blows my mind that these people can do this kind of stuff, and I'm looking at all of them. They're probably about as evil and corrupt. Probably visited islands, man. Been to a Diddy party. Come on, let's do it. Like, Kavari, man, come on, man, let's go, man. When the twin power activate, bro, let's clean it up. Let's put the light on these guys, man. There's cockroaches all over the place. Let's stomp out the disease, man. Let's do it. 100%, dude. I'm all on board with that. Trust me. I don't care. Like I said, I don't care what party you're on, what side you on. Dude, if you're doing stuff that's illegal, man, you need to be held accountable. And you need to be get out of position. And that's one thing a lot of people don't realize too. For all the people that were sitting there wondering how in the world Lena Khan could have that job, it's an appointment. There's a lot of politics involved in that. She shouldn't have had that job, obviously, as you can tell. But she was there for one purpose and one purpose only, to exert government control and influence. It's luckily she's not good at it. And the people, it's funny. See, that's diversity hires, right? So, I mean, I had a lot of people say, "Well, she went to this, she went to this university and stuff like that." Like, but I'm like, what do they do? Like PlayStation guys will go against my girl Sarah Bond, but I'm like, dude, I've seen evidence of what she can and cannot do. She's doing it right now, number one, and if you just look at her brief history, that's just not paper that she's holding, brother. That's bona fides right there. That's just the thing to tell you that she went through the process. But her bona fides is actually now when I open up the store, we got a lot of games from China. We got some games from Southeast Asia in the store to buy. If you look at the latest drop list, you kind of see what it's hard, and it's hard, man. This is why Sarah said what she said. It's like, oh, we got games. Like at least she said, Game Pass is a backlog now. They're just constantly dropping games, man, and that's all because of Sarah. So you got to show me, man. Just don't tell me. And I mean, a lot of people are book smart. A lot of people thrive in these environments, man. But it's in the environments that especially when it comes to politics, it's when you're actually on the battlefield dealing with this kind of stuff. That's when the metal missed the road. So how are you going to deal with this stuff, dude? What are your policies? You say what your policies are. Like Kamala's out there. Yeah, Cardi B out there reading off her phone. Cardi B out there telling me, "Oh, well, we're gonna do this." She told me to my face she's gonna do this and da 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 da. And I'm like listening to this. I'm like, dude, they all say that, right? They always say that. Tax credit this, right? Income this, all of this kind of stuff. Middle class, poor, lower class, upper class. Okay, but it's in your actions, dude. And I've had 4 years of Trump, and we've had 4 years of Kamala. And even some people are like, well, she's just the vice president. Dude, she's still in office. And every time she's interviewed, she agrees with him 100%. So she's a yes man to him, or a yes woman to him. And he's a yes man to everybody else who he's beholden to. There is no one person running this country. This is why they don't want Trump in there, because if Trump gets in there, he'll be that one person. Nobody's going to tell him what to do. He'll listen to you, but at the end of the day, he'll make his decision. He's old school. This is why, to your point, again, Kavara, why some people turned on him is because they thought they had an inside track with him, or they thought they really respected their opinion, which he might have, right? But at the end of the day, he makes a decision, and he goes against what somebody says, and some of these people are caught up in their feeling. And some people it's just not a good fit because they realize that, right? Some of these guys came on board, thought it was going to be the conservative movement, and he shifted, right? He has no problem with gay marriage. He respects that's what his party been talking about now, to appeal to the gay community, right? But also, I think he actually believes that, because I've seen his body of work for years, so it doesn't surprise me. So that's why I don't lose my mind about it as a Christian, especially, because I've had other Christians attack me about that. I said, dude, and I tell them straight up all the time. I told this guy this. I'm like, look, I don't need a God. I have one. Okay, I don't need a church. I have a church. I don't need a pastor. I have a pastor. What I need is somebody that's going to be good in the office, and he's the best. He's the best person right now. He is the one and only guy right now. That's what I'm voting on. Because regardless if he wins or loses, I'm still a Christian. Regardless of his win or loses, dude, I'll be preparing for the kingdom to come. Regardless if he wins or loses, dude, I'm going to be working, providing, and doing things for my family. Right? Because I'm not plugged in like that. And I think, again, as I close, a lot of you guys need to disconnect and take a step back and try and look at things, the bigger picture. Kavari, man, it sounds to me like you don't like Trump for whatever reason, stuff like that. Some of the stuff he posted on there, dude, I'll be honest with you. I don't do people's homework for them, dude. You got to do it for yourself. You have to dive deeper, man. You have to step outside of the streams, man, and look at other people to get their opinion. And you can still end up hating them. There's a lot of people that don't like you that are going to vote for him. But some of the stuff that I can tell you, some of the stuff you're telling me in the comment section, thanks for being here, by the way. I have no problem with you being here, but some of the stuff you're telling me, dude, that's easily disproved. But I'm not gonna do it for you, dude. That's not, dude. I don't do that with my own kids. I make my kids do the heavy lifting for themselves. But at the end of the day, you need to know, and you need to understand why things are the way they are. So thank you, Kavari, for being here. It makes it easier for me. So something we can discuss. And again, you don't have to agree with me. Just post your comments and we'll talk about it. Or I'll comment on it and then you can comment in the chat. Daniel, thanks for being here, brother, man. Quick reminder of all the stuff going on at WMB. I got to do some research. Cygnus, my brother, thank you for being here as well. Always good to see you. Unlimited, man, I don't know if you're still listening, dude. I'm going to try and watch your live stream later on. I'm going to jump on some COD, dude. I got to level up, man. I got to take advantage of that 2XP. I'm probably going to be doing that all weekend. But I'm interested to see the gameplay. Did you give commentary? Are you going to give a review or give your thoughts on Dragon Age? Let me know, man. I would like to check it out. Oh, wow, Kavari, you was there from the jump. Thanks for being here, Kavari, honestly. I really mean that. I'm not just trying to say that. Because I too like to, this is good, steel sharpens steel. So it helps, it helps me as well to keep myself straight. Because, I got to represent this channel in the chat. And again, Pro Xbox channel, guys, but we are going to go in different directions. All in Popcasts will return. Well, okay, I'm of two minds. The All in Pop, I mentioned, might be All in Pop Culture and Politics. But that could go away because, once the election goes away, unless people are interested, we can talk about other things. But right, the reason I'm talking about this is because of the election. Sorry I did not start this sooner. I should have, to help inform people. I mean, you might not agree with me, don't think I'm nuts. That's fine. But I know that some people might come across it and help inform them and pique their interest at least. Not think for them, but get them thinking. Right? I'm very much a part of that. That you can go out and draw your own conclusions because that's what you see happening a lot. Where people were talking about how they felt about Trump in 2016 and how they feel now, and a lot of them feel like they were lied to, or that the media was being dishonest. And then it's funny, was in the same breath as like, I just wish he wouldn't talk this way, or why does he have to open his mouth so much? And again, there's a rhyme and a reason for that. We'll cover that on another podcast. If you guys feel, just ask me in the chat next time, and I'll let you know exactly why he is the way he is. There's a method to his madness. But anyway, Xbox All In channel, host Sega Forever. We out.